And we're live.
Good morning, everyone.
If you could, just very briefly, because I see there's some people in the comments, if you could let us know that we sound okay. I'm going to do my best to talk into the microphone today. I've been getting several complaints, and I do not take those lightly. So please let me know. I'm going to do my best not to trail off and to talk directly into the microphone. I have it set up a little bit closer to my mouth today. All right. Looks like everyone's saying.
I can't see any of the comments. Just kidding.
You got to click on the comments. Make sure they come up.
Click on the comments. Got it.
All right. Well, good Saturday morning. It is Saturday, April 18th. I hope you're doing amazing wherever you're at. Sure, there's going to be a lot to talk about today, and I'm sure there will be a lot of questions. And we're going to be both live on my YouTube channel, my podcast YouTube channel, and Taylor's YouTube channel as well. But I think the biggest thing on everyone's minds right now, and sent an email about this, and also did a video about it yesterday. But it's basically the FDA seems like they were moving in favor of peptides, so that seems to be, I think, more or less a very good thing to happen. It's kind of funny because in this, whatever the peptide world is, you have this cohort on one side that were probably the people 6 years ago that were very in support of a certain procedure.
Yeah.
And those people, call it like socio-politically or whatever, are very against even peptides being allowed to be prescribed by doctors. And so on one hand, you have kind of a media assault and a cultural assault on people, or from people that just don't want peptides at all, that say they're dangerous, but would be in support of other typical pharmaceutical things.
Yeah.
Then on the far other side of the perspective or spectrum, you have the research peptide world, which says that we want to be able to put whatever we want into our own body, and we don't want the government to tell us what to do, nor do we want the government to regulate. And I would say the research world does a pretty doggone good job of regulating themselves of what's out there. I mean, how many people do you see just dropping dead from research peptides? None that I know of.
None.
And then in the middle ground, now we have RFK coming out and saying that there's going to be these 12 or 19. The number kind of moves around, but there's going to be a cohort of the most popular peptides that the FDA is going to move from category 2 to category 1, which means they're not going to be FDA approved, but it will be easy for compounding pharmacies to make them, thus easy for doctors to prescribe them. And so we're going to have, apparently, assuming everything goes through, which it looks like by all means and measures it will, looks like we're going to have very easy access medically for at least those major peptides.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, I think that's a good thing. I think what that's going to do is usher in a much more broader use of the peptide category. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people in the research world are worried that keep your hands off of my peptides. I don't really see that going away, especially for the savvy user of knowing how to get them. It may become a little bit more difficult, maybe not, but I don't see that necessarily going away. Really what I think this is going to do is just open the doors up to more people getting peptides from their doctor. All the people that you've been trying to tell peptides about forever, like all of us who use peptides, but all the people, our friends and family, our neighbors that we try to tell about, they're now going to be able to get easier access to peptides, and we'll still be the crazy people in the research world. So that's my opinion of what's going to happen, but who really knows?
I think also too, I think there's still a majority of population that still wants the peptide from their doctor. The amount of people, obviously, that I talk to, and the people that don't work with me, that just like old hair clients or friends, they're like, well, tirzepatide, I want to do a GLP, I'm going to do tirzepatide. And then I tell them about retatrutide. They're like, but my doctor can't give me that. My doctor can give me tirzepatide. There's still that big population of people that still want it from their doctor, which I think is good. How things are moving is how I said, 5 years ago, where I saw peptides going in the future. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's a positive thing because it's going to give more access to peptides to people. I want more people using the peptides. Obviously, we come from the research world by using it. I still think that you should be able to put whatever you want into your body. But I think in the whole big thing, when I think of the big picture and like what I want to see is a healthier population of people. And if that means more people are going to be using peptides because they're coming from a doctor, I think it's a positive aspect. When you look at it whole as spiritually as a human being. Obviously, I know it does affect the research chemical world, but I don't think it's going to affect it as bad as like what some people say that it's going to. I think like obviously they got to the point like where like, you know, criminal charges got prosecuted against people that own research companies. Like, yeah, that would be a negative for them, but I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I think it's the way medicine's going. And at the end of the day, it's about having a healthier population of people. And the thing is too, I think what's a positive aspect for me and you, because we're more educators, like, yes, we've worked with research companies and whatnot, and but like our purpose is to educate people. And if you think about it, when you go into your doctor's appointment, whether it's a virtual telehealth medicine appointment or it's an in-person appointment, you're really not spending that much one-on-one time getting educated by your medical provider. Why? They don't have the time in their schedule to do that. Like most of the time they're seeing anywhere between 15, some cases 20 patients a day. Like they don't have the time to sit and lecture you for just 30 minutes about education on what this peptide is going to do, why is it working? And that's not what their job is. Their job is to obviously listen, obviously prescribe, but they're not going to be able to do that. Like you still need to go and take matters in your own hands and still do the research after you leave your doctor's appointment. So I think for us, like, I don't think it's going to change that much for us
Yeah.
because our purpose is to educate people on peptides and hormone replacement therapy. Like, so
Well,
I think it's still going to be a positive impact. Whereas that those people that aren't like-minded like us in the sense that like they're doing their own research, they're getting from chemical research companies. I think that this is going to open a door for the majority of people that just want prescribed by their doctor. I think it's going to open the door up for them to also maybe explore and do more education themselves as well.
the research people?
No, the non-research people.
Oh, you mean just getting into peptides?
Yeah, just people that are getting
yeah.
into peptides. I
Yeah.
think it's going to open a door from them.
Yeah, you'll definitely see more people that previously would have been like, "Oh, no, I would never touch that with a 10-foot pole." To like,
Yeah.
well, maybe
And the thing is too,
BPC.
is that the like as of right now, the research peptides are not going away as of right now. There's still gonna be
Well,
some options. I
I mean,
think
I don't have a crystal ball, but I tell you what, go to Las Vegas in the fall to Mr. Olympia. There's still a lot of people using steroids, and guess what? Those were made illegal 30 years ago. So, yeah, I mean, are they going away? They might go away in the fashion that they are now, but there will always be research peptides, just like there's always everything. There's always,
yeah.
things. It just, I think, is like what level of gray to black market does it become? I don't know. So,
Yeah.
but I think the people that
I
are
see
savvy
both
enough to do that on
sides.
their own
Yeah.
now will be savvy enough to
Yeah.
continue
Yeah,
into the
exactly.
future.
Exactly. Because I'm not like,
Well, yeah,
I
I
like
don't
having
care
control. I
either.
like being able to do things what I want and to my body myself and to get
Yeah,
better
ideally,
myself.
you would just be able to get peptides as supplements.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll ever happen because they're injectable. Maybe the oral delivery becomes so much better that
Mhm.
injectable is not even a question anymore, but maybe not. And it'd be really cool if you just like walk into CVS or Walgreens and just buy it. Like, we've talked about before, like buying insulin. So I'm not super worried about that. I think peptides are here. They're here to stay. It just becomes like, what do we kind of, what does it look like for everyone to get them?
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at GLPs, I would be interested to know because GLPs have been around, a lot of people get GLPs prescribed. What percent of GLPs used are via research or via a doctor? And I think you could look at that right now and kind of extrapolate like what will then happen to the peptide world.
Mhm.
Because if they're as easy to access as GLPs, or even easier because they're cheaper, hopefully, than GLPs would be, I think that would end up resulting. It would be a good like extrapolation of looking at that to see like, okay, where is this going to go, and then like what percent of the market is going to adopt either way. But one thing we were talking about this morning, to change notes briefly, and then I promise we'll get to your questions because I see questions coming in. So please drop them in there because we'll make sure we get to everything this morning. One thing we were talking about is Taylor and I, because we talk to so many people and work with a lot of people in our group, and then just seeing stuff across the internet. One thing we've noticed, I mean, not recently, but it just was one thing, it was a topic of conversation for us this morning is why do GLPs stop working for people? So we have GLPs, we have this holy grail miracle drug for fat loss,
Mhm.
to which like almost everyone can take a GLP to a threshold dose and move in the right direction. But what we're starting to see a lot is a lot of people are like, this doesn't work for me anymore. This doesn't work for me. And we were talking about like why, how can a GLP work so well for so many people,
Mhm.
yet some people will claim it doesn't work for them or it works right away and then it doesn't work after that. And I've got theories about it. Obviously everyone's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
But tell us what you think because this was a really good conversation we were having earlier this morning. We said we needed to wait and hold where this conversation goes
I
for
think,
everyone.
there's there's 2 main things that I think that what what's not being in take taken in consideration is cellular health and nutrition. And I feel like I'm, like, always, like I feel like the nutrition is, like, beating the dead horse,
Well,
but not
not to interrupt, but let me ask you in terms of making the GLP not work, is that what's making them not work is the nutrition?
I
Or
think
the weight loss is not happening because they just use a GLP and then no attention is paid to nutrition?
on the nutrition subject, I think that it's a couple things. I think that there are some people that want complete 0 thoughts of food. I think if you have the
Mm.
slightest thought of food or hunger, the GLP is not working. And that's not what they're designed for. You don't want to use it to the point like where you don't have any appetite. Like, I think that's where it can be a little dangerous, not dangerous, I shouldn't say that word. Can be a little negative is that you still need to be able to get your healthy amount of macros in. And I think a lot of people are still very carb phobic and they're eating mostly fats, protein, they're eating and vegetables. They're not eating any carbohydrates and carbohydrates coming from grains, coming from rice, coming from oatmeal, coming from potatoes. Like there's still a lot of people that are so scared of those 3 food groups and you need those food groups, especially if you're exercising, especially for building muscle. And there's nutrients in those food groups. And I think that can also be an issue. I think that you'll see a big I personally saw like a huge change in weight loss and in my body composition when I added those foods back in. And I think people that are on GLPs, that's not being taken into consideration, or it's like they're just not like the slight feeling of hunger, it makes them feel like it doesn't work.
Well, I think hunger is a good thing.
Yes.
And what we were talking about this morning is you wouldn't want to drive your car around without the gas needle to show you how
Mhm.
much gas you have in the tank. And so I think what a lot of people want to do is use a GLP to completely shut off their hunger signaling because it's just easier not to have to think about food, which I get.
Mhm.
But it's also important to understand that hunger is there for a reason. Like your body is designed to get hungry to help you know when it's time to eat. And I think people are starving themselves macronutrient wise and
Mhm.
micronutrient wise. And then I think to the point of it not working, they're just expecting to take something. It's kind of like where people want nootropic peptides and they just want Adderall, basically.
Yeah.
They want something that they can take and it melts fat off and they don't have to eat. And unfortunately, that's not how life works. Like you
Mhm.
need those things to be able to do it. And then a lot of like you were saying to the point of the carbohydrates where people are so carb phobic, they don't
Mhm.
understand they need like a balanced diet,
Yeah.
not just to skip carbs. And as much as the GLP can push you in one direction, and will never solve all of the
Mhm.
issues. And to your point about cellular health, the reason I think for some people like us that lower doses of GLPs work well is because I'm not saying this to brag about ourselves.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people have much better end cellular health
Mhm.
than other people, and the GLP won't get you only get you so far. But if you have really good cellular health, so you're detoxing regularly, you're exercising, you're eating healthy, you're getting sunlight, you're getting good water, you're doing sauna, you're doing red light therapy, you're doing all the things that make you have good cellular health, the
Mhm.
peptides will then work better. But
Mhm.
if you have poor cellular health, the peptides will constantly be a band-aid
Yeah.
to try to fix an issue that really goes back to all of the foundational things.
Yeah.
And I think that's why some people, they keep having to up and up and up to the dose of a GLP, whereas like if they just kind of stayed within a range, I'm not against upping the dose at all,
No.
but I'm just saying if they did all of the other things properly, like if you did 45 minutes of cardio every day and you weight trained
Mhm.
3 or 4 times per week, the peptides will work completely differently than if you don't do that. And that's where I think a lot of people, they don't take care of cellular health enough
Mhm.
first, and peptides could be a part of that. And then they blame the GLP, or they're not even blaming the GLP. They're just like, this doesn't work anymore. I don't know what's
Mhm.
going on. Either I stalled in my weight loss or I'm like starting to gain weight back. And it's like, well, there's a reason for that because your body really is, that's not what your body's designed to be like.
Yeah. Do you think that so let me ask you this. Do you think that if somebody who has basically stalled out with their GLP,
Mhm.
do you think that maybe it could be beneficial to then say, okay, let's switch the focus? Because I think that this is another thing I don't think people take into consideration is like, where is your focus? Like, are you trying to lose fat? Are you trying to build muscle? You're trying to build muscle and lose fat at the same time? Like, maybe the focus should be like, where are we at with our cellular health then? And do you think that maybe it might be beneficial for someone to then maybe then focus on running a protocol for cellular health and reevaluate their cellular health and then reintroduce the GLP back in?
Yeah, absolutely. And
I
that could
think
be
that yeah,
SS31. It could be KBV. It could be some of those things to improve, get rid of the
yeah.
inflammation, get rid of lingering residual issues.
And I hate like I feel like this is another thing I feel like I beat it with a dead horse. I hate to say this, but I've gotten a lot of hate for saying this. I personally feel that if you are going to continue consuming alcohol while you are on any peptide, you are wasting your time and wasting your money.
Well, why don't you
Because
get off your moral high horse, Missy? I'm kidding.
yeah, that's not nice.
No, I'm saying
No,
that's what
because
people say back to you.
that's what people say back, but it's like it is true. Like, and I don't want to sound like I'm like preachy about this, but alcohol is super toxic. And I we go to all these conferences. It is crazy to me how much alcohol is actually at some of these conferences that we go to, some of them, and
Well, not
it
really if you think about it. You just don't, it's not normal for
it's
you.
not normal anymore, but this is also coming from someone I used to drink at least 4 days a week.
Whoa.
I used to use cannabis probably like 6 days a week, and that was my lifestyle several years ago, and I'm notice a huge difference in my body composition, like, when I cut those out.
You don't say.
Yeah. And I just think that, like, you're adding something to help your body, but then you're gonna add something in, even if you are somebody who just has the occasional glass of wine, which I really don't know what that is anymore because we had very different opinions on what that meant. But, like, even if you are gonna drink a glass of wine, like, once a week, it's still going to add toxics into your body. Your body, after one cocktail, it takes your body 7 days to be able to then burn fat. So think about that when you are on a GLP trying to lose fat, and then you do want to have a glass of wine at a event or at a dinner. Like, keep that in mind when you're trying to make these choices. And I know socially it can be very uncomfortable because people still, it doesn't bother us. It doesn't bother you. It used to bother me in the beginning, but it doesn't bother me anymore. It'd be like, oh, you don't drink. And it's like, no, but, like, there's ways you can still go to events, like, we had to go to a bar to a cocktail event one time when we were in Vegas. Okay, I ordered a mocktail. I ordered soda water with lime and put that in there. Like, eventually, it does become, like, socially, like, easier, but I think that's a big thing that still a lot of people in the biohacking health realm, they're still drinking alcohol that's going to be damaging for your cellular health. So,
How many people do you think drink because they actually want to drink versus just do it socially because they
oh, I think it's highly social because I've had people say, like,
So what you're
"I really
telling me is
don't wanna
that
drink," but then it's, like, awkward when I'm out with friends and, then I'm not having a cocktail with them. I feel awkward. I feel like, black sheep, left out, and the thing is that, like, I experience this, your social group will change when you cut that out because it's also, like, I think it makes the other person feel more uncomfortable when you say, like, "I don't drink," and you're around someone who drinks. I think it makes them feel more uncomfortable because it's, like, also, like, they have to do some reflection on themselves.
well, you don't want to be around people that you look at it's a reminder of what they should be doing and should not be doing,
Yeah.
and you serve as that reminder, and so they either want you to drink with them or not be
Mhm.
around them, because if you're not taking part in the debauchery, then, well, you're not part
And
of the
the
team.
yeah, and the thing is, like, I can still be around people that are, like,
Now
appropriately
it bothers
socially
them more than it bothers
drinking
you.
is yeah, and there does there get to a point, like, when we're at events and, like, it gets to the point, like, where it's like, okay, the drinking's now getting to be, like, too much to where you can't have conversations anymore. Yeah, then we just leave, but, I mean, it's like
Mm, yeah. Well, I think at the end of the day, I don't care what anyone does.
yeah.
Have your drinks, have your weed, have your whatever. It's just not my personal preference, and just know that your results will be hindered if those are the things. I guess
Mhm.
someone could make the argument with weed that your results wouldn't be hindered, and they're probably I'd say that's more true with weed than with alcohol, but it's also with me. I don't know, I guess I'm fortunate, like, I don't have a craving for those things
Mhm.
with or without peptides, and so for me, it's just not hard, but I understand that's harder for a lot of people
It
to
is.
want to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just understand, don't blame peptides if you're consuming alcohol. Know that you're not getting all of the benefits of
Benefits.
them
Yeah.
if you're consuming alcohol. Okay, we have rambled long enough. It is time to meet the people. It's time to talk with the people. I'm going to go through the first question and we'll go from there. Hopefully, and let us know, guys, if our cameras and audio are okay. I noticed it lagged for a second, but hopefully it's okay. All right, first question. And I remember to put them on the screen.
Yeah.
Do you have an argument why I should lower my TRT dose of 25 milligrams per day if all of my blood work is good? Test equals 1900 would have no side effects. No, I do not have an argument. Keep doing it. What you're doing, if you feel good and all your blood work is good, there's nothing wrong with a total testosterone of 1900. And understand, if you're doing 25 milligrams a day, that'd be 140, 160. So, like 165 ish milligrams per week off the top of my head. So, no, I do not have a problem. Or is that 175 milligrams a week? I don't have a problem with that. You're good. There's nothing wrong with the total testosterone of 1900 whatsoever. Just because that's higher than the reference range, there's nothing wrong. So, no, I don't have an argument, unfortunately. Keep doing what you're doing. That's what I would do. Echo, what's up? Big news for peptides. Yes, this week. Any new collabs coming up? The one that I know we're going to do, we're going to have the owner of Blue Shield, which is an EMF mitigation device. He's going to come in a few weeks. He's going to be in the area and do a podcast with us. So that should be pretty cool. Not peptide related, but I do love a good talking about EMF.
Yeah.
And so that's the only one planned. But other than that, nothing immediate. And so, but if anyone's out there and wants to do a podcast and feels like they would be good, we're always open to suggestions.
Yeah.
We built the studio for us, but obviously we like to have guests too. But then it's funny with guests because then you get like, if people don't like the guest, then they like send you hate messages about like, you
Oh,
shouldn't
yeah.
have the guest
Shouldn't have
on.
that guest
It's like,
on.
dude, I'm just trying to, one, help other people that I like.
Yeah.
And then like, two, it's interesting to talk to them. It's just like, people get so weird if you like talk to other people that they don't like. If they like you, but then they don't like you, or people don't like me and then they like the guest, so whatever. But yeah, nothing planned. Also, okay to mix LL37 and KPV together in a nasal spray. I would not do that personally. I don't like mixing LL37 with anything, but that's my personal philosophy. So if you want to, you could do that and probably not going to do anything bad. And I wouldn't really use those in a nasal spray anyway, although they could be beneficial. particularly KPV with helping with candida or any sort of like microbes in the brain, because you can get that. But I wouldn't do that personally. That would just be my personal opinion. Any new sups in the stacks that I like? Nothing comes to mind. Do we have any new supplements?
No, and I know we're getting ready to try some new stuff.
I tried an allopregnanolone topical balm last night before bed.
Yeah.
Seemed to work. I slept good. I had really deep dreams.
I had deep dreams
Probably
too.
did something.
Yeah.
But that may be astrologically, who knows? It's always hard with the dreams to decipher whether it's the supplements or the astrology.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in astrology this coming week. A lot of stuff.
You know, it's one of those things
Aries.
is people think if you talk about astrology, you're like talking about devil worship, which it's not. It's actually like it can be very scientific in a way.
Yeah.
If you examine astrology, basically it's just planetary alignment.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about that is like a lot of people say it's BS, to which like I grant, but also
it isn't though. Like it has lined up.
But it's also one of those things like it just is there. And so you can choose to acknowledge it or not.
Yeah.
But it's like saying like the moon is not out. It's like, well, yeah, the moon is out. You can say that it doesn't have anything to do with you. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson says that there's no possible way that the gravity from the moon affects anything to do with humans. Yet we know that the moon affects menstrual cycles in women because of the gravity from the moon. And we know that like that affects the moon. And so it's like,
tides.
You can say that it's not there. Yeah, the moon affects the tides, obviously. But how would it, if we have water, just like the ocean has water, how would the gravity from the moon not affect us?
I think there's a conspiracy. My sister sent it to me that like sometime in like August of this year, there's supposed to be like they're messing with the gravity and it's going to mess like with us. I don't just remember that.
Well,
I don't know how
they're always messing with us.
Yeah. I do think astrologically, like, I don't know, something is going on.
That's the thing though.
Weird
it's always
things that have happened the last few days.
It's always going on.
Well, yeah, but
to the point of the weird
something different is going on right
to the point of the weird things happening. The video that I released yesterday about peptides, I actually had to film 3 times because the 2 previous times that I filmed it, the mic recorder erased and corrupted the file after it existed. So like I went to it to listen to it and then it erased the audio file, had to film it again. The file was fine. And I plugged in the computer to edit the video and it erased it again. And so I filmed that video actually 3 times. And then of course the 3rd time I made sure I did a double backup.
Well, then you said one time like elevator music.
Yeah, and then elevator music started playing over the file. But the file was corrupted, but then there was like elevator music in the first 10 seconds, which makes no sense whatsoever. And so what was that? I'm sure there's a technical explanation for it. But what is even higher or beyond the technical explanation? Did somebody not want me to film that video? Well, I guess you could say that someone doesn't want me to film
someone does not want you to make any video.
Any videos. There'd be a lot of people, I guess, happy out there if I just shut down making videos for good for whatever reason. But that's not what I'm going to do. But it's kind of one of those things like you choose to believe it or not, it exists. So anyway, moving on. I don't know how I got there from LL37 and KPV.
Yeah, I don't either. That's why people are here. We're entertaining.
I hope so. I hope it's worth the while. Mid-40s female, perimenopause on HRT, still getting colds every 6 weeks, travel often, using TA1 max 500 micrograms, get headaches, tried Velon, Cristogen 500 micrograms daily. What else would you add? I would definitely, if you're traveling a lot, it's one of those things you're getting exposure. Glutathione would be a major thing that I would add in if you're not using, that's going to help a lot. I would be injecting 100 to 200 milligrams of glutathione 2 to 3 times per week in this case. From there, you could add in a product called Thymogen, Thymogen. That's going to be really good. It's a bioregulator, but it's a little bit more targeted than Thymolin, which is another bioregulator. You could actually add both of those in if you choose, but those would be the ones I'd add in. You could also do LL37 as well if it is some sort of viral or microbial infection. There was literally a fruit fly inside of my coffee. The fruit flies are out in full force.
I don't know how to get rid of them. If anybody knows how to get rid of the fruit flies, please.
We have those little traps. We have those little traps. Is there any peptides for fruit flies?
I put a bowl of
LL37
water and like sugar out on the counter, so don't dump it out. I don't think it's doing anything.
Yeah. Anyway, but that would be my recommendation for
Mhm.
the immune system.
I would also say for the headaches, did they say something about headaches? Am I making that
I
up?
think they said, well, it said max 500 micrograms because they get headaches from the thymosin alpha.
Oh, okay, just kidding. I'd also like, say like minerals too, like up mineral intake, but that was more so
Yeah.
for the headache.
That can help too. That's always going to be good to help. Also, we did it at A4M last weekend. There is a company that has you wouldn't call them vape pens, but they're inhalers. Maybe they are kind of vape pens, but it has
No
carbon
idea.
60 and glutathione and ATP.
Mhm.
And they also have that's their energy one. And then they have an immune system one that has carbon 60. Carbon 60 is great for your immune
Yeah.
system. So you could travel with that and just hit that pin. We were like hitting it. I felt like I was like a 14-year-old bad boy with my vape pen, with the carbon 60 in it.
I was enjoying it, but then I would realize it wasn't THC. I'm like, "Wait, this isn't doing what I think it's doing."
They could probably make one that carbon 60 and THC. That would be an interesting combination.
Yeah. I don't know if it could be, like, water soluble like that, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's the whole
'Cause
point is that it's water soluble, so it's not, like, toxic.
yeah.
It did feel weird doing that. It did feel weird at first. I was like, "Wait, like, I'm not supposed to be doing this anymore."
Oh, yeah, like, what is it? Like muscle memory.
Yeah.
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 Next question. I know about your love for Cardilax. How do you feel about its natural cousin, Sigamir? If someone's using it as a bi-regular capsule, would you still reach for Cardilax? Thanks for the show. Yes, I would. Sigamir is going to be a little bit more systemic. I don't think Sigamir is bad, but it is maybe 10% of the benefit that you get of Cardilax. Chemically speaking, they're pretty similar from all estimations that I can tell, but the Cardilax is going to be much more targeted, so you can inject that into an area and actually get more benefit into that area, where Sigamir might just be a little bit more systemic if you have like chronic pain or inflammation or rheumatoid arthritis. But that would be my recommendation. But yes, you can definitely do them both at the same time. I think that's one thing I haven't really talked about, but doing a combination of the injectable with the oral bioregulators, I think that's a great thing to do, just to enhance them. It's kind of hitting it from both sides. When he has recently started TRT at 63, he's using the cream. After 6 weeks, his T was lower. A couple points, FSH and SHBG were also low. His numbers have been very consistent, but low for years. Well, point in case, this is why I don't recommend cream for most people. I think cream can be great for the right person. So here's what happens with cream is, first of all, what happens is you are using exogenous testosterone. So what you're going to start to do is create this feedback loop to where your brain no longer feels the need to produce FSH and LH to create testosterone in the testes. Okay, fair enough. That's what we do with exogenous testosterone. However, the cream is very short acting. And in my opinion, because of the short acting nature of the cream, you can take it. So let's say you take your cream on a Monday morning, and then Tuesday morning, you get your blood drawn, but you haven't taken your next dose of cream on Tuesday morning. Your testosterone will be bottomed out because you've cleared it all. Whereas with an injection, you're going to metabolize that over a period of time. Thus, your levels stay within the stable range, which feels good. That's what I think like the purpose of therapy is, to create yourself in a stable range. And with the cream, you're bottoming yourself out. And so you're in the cycle of like, sure, you're more like naturally pulsing, but if your baseline is always going back to zero rather than like the bottom of the therapeutic range, you're not going to feel good. Your level's going to be low.
Yeah.
In this case, than they were even pre-testosterone therapy. So his levels probably would not be that low if they did a blood test like 3 hours after his last application of cream.
Yeah.
But if you wait 24 hours, then it will be.
Yeah.
And to that point, that's why I just am not a fan of the cream, because you see with low FSH, it is shutting down his natural production, but he's not getting the therapeutic benefit of it.
Should have just put in the chat at the bottom that he is applying the cream every day.
Well, yeah, and that's what you have to do.
Yeah,
but
he
like
might have to
if I had to do
apply
it,
it
you have to
twice a
apply
day.
it twice or
Twice
three
a day.
times per day.
If you metabolize quicker, like you're gonna burn through your cream faster.
Yeah. And so that would be my recommendation, to just switch to injections. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but that's why I'm a bigger fan of injections than the cream.
Yeah.
Until I just don't, I mean, I wanted the cream to work so bad when I was using it. You get more DHT spike, but it just never did. I always went back to injections. And that's pretty much where I've decided. to stay now. You also there's the whole HDL argument that the HDL will probably lower a little bit with injections,
Mhm.
probably go up a little bit with the creams. I
Mhm.
understand that they're more biologically similar and more bioidentical than the injections. I just for me, practically, it's just always been better with injections.
Yeah.
And I know you feel the same way. Same thing for women.
Yeah. I feel the same way.
You got me into peptides a few years ago, Hunter, and I've tried them all, but at this point, I don't feel or notice anything from them anymore besides SS31. Maybe it's just from having my TRT dot on. Yeah, I think here's the first thing. The hormones are going to be 90% of the equation. Peptides are cool, but they're really like the icing on the cake.
Mhm.
We talk 90% of the time about the icing on the cake. It's always the 90-10 rule.
Yeah.
90% of the stuff we talk about is 10% of the benefits, which is the peptides. 90% of the benefits is 10% of what we talk about, which is the hormones.
Yeah.
And I think that's the case. Now, SS31, yes, is an amazing peptide. There are amazing peptides. To that point, though, we were talking about earlier with cellular health is it just if you have good cellular health, peptides will
Mhm.
just be the icing on the cake. And so if I'm really healthy and I go inject TB500, am I going to notice anything? No. If I go tear my shoulder and then inject TB500, am I going to notice anything? Of course I
Yeah.
am. And so that's where peptides come in. They're tools to create certain things. If I'm really lean, like if I'm 8% body fat and I take a GLP, am I going to get shredded? Probably not. Like, why would I want to get more shredded? If I'm already 8% body fat. And so there are other benefits of a GLP that are anti-inflammatory. And I think a lot of times they're doing stuff in the background that you might not notice. Um, And so I would
I
say
think they're
that's
keeping that cellular health healthier, and they're playing more of the role in the background.
yeah, and you're not always gonna feel them, and that's okay. And I think too, once people start to feel really good, you have this honeymoon phase of 6 to 12 months where whatever it is, TRT, peptides,
Mhm.
whatever, like, "Oh my goodness, this is amazing.
Yeah.
How does the whole world not know about this?"
Yes.
And then you start talking about it on social media and you get kicked off social media. And then you're like, "Oh, wait." You start to normalize to it, and then you're like, "Wow, I actually just feel really good."
Mhm.
And, like, most days, I feel really good, but I don't get up thinking like, "Oh my goodness, I feel so good today." Like, I don't do that every day because I just feel good. But I
Yeah.
do like, if someone else got put into my shoes, they would do that
Yeah.
because they're so far from actually feeling like
Yeah.
that. And I think that's probably where, it's you're not always gonna feel it.
No.
So, I'm not saying this comment is saying this, but a lot of people that just say peptides are completely BS, to which I would say, I mean, have you tried them? The interesting thing about peptides is like all these influencers talk about, oh, the peptides are so bad. They're probably going to, now that they can have telehealth companies, their own white labeled telehealth company to sell
Yeah.
peptides. Now all of a sudden peptides are going to be
Be
so
so
good,
okay.
so good
So
for you.
good. Yeah.
Buy your peptides right alongside
Yeah.
like whatever supplement
Yeah.
that I'm like your AG1 or whatever. This is obviously not sponsored by AG1 and probably actually never will be, not probably, never will be. But you know, it's kind of funny
It's
with
also like, you're welcome. Like,
what
because I feel like if it wasn't for people like us and other influencers like us in the research peptide world, I don't think I don't think this would be happening because we put the information out there and blew it up. I don't think this would be happening
well,
if it
my
wasn't
ego
for
would like to think that
I
that's the
don't I'm not saying
case,
it's
but
because of us. I'm just saying in general, it's
yeah, the movement
the
of people
movement of
pushing
like
this forward.
everybody talking about this and pushing it. And
Yeah.
it's like, especially when, you know, people want to poo poo on research, peptides, it's like you can poo poo on them, but they also played a big forefront on getting them here and getting everything happening
Well, I think the
with
poo poo comes
being going into the medical
it's
direction.
just all about money. It's
Oh, it
all
is.
about money. It's
Yeah.
like everyone has like their money and then it's just like, and I'm not saying like it's not that I don't care about money, but it's just like it's when you look at the messages driven, it's all about
Hmm.
money. So like Eli Lilly says compounding pharmacies are dirty, bad. And compounding pharmacies, like the research companies, are bad. And honestly, like it's just like they all just fight over it.
And
So
it's funny because half it all comes from the same
mhm,
place.
yeah. Anything you would recommend to enhance performance for a 48-year-old female marathon runner? I mean, the stock answer to me would be cardarine because that's going to help so much with endurance, help with recovery and everything. There's like one compound that really does help with endurance training. It would be cardarine.
Bartering.
Like
Yeah.
you're gonna notice. But obviously, to 48-year-old marathon runner, please, please, please be on testosterone if you're a woman and that's you. Um, just because like that will wreck your neuroendocrine system.
Yeah.
And so that would be the first thing, obviously. But
Yeah.
what's up, Shinna? She says, to elaborate on my IPA, do I continue to take it if I got an injury during a cycle? Is IPA still working inside the body if you don't have an empty stomach? Yes, I would continue to take it to help with systemic IGF levels, to help with recovery. And it does work, but I would say it works a lot less effectively if you don't have an empty stomach, because growth hormone peptides, you have to get them across the blood-brain barrier, which if you have low insulin levels, it's going to be more effective at crossing the blood-brain barrier. And that's why you like to take them fasted. Although I will say they're not worthless if you eat them with food. They're just substantially less effective. But I wouldn't like if the only choice is to take it with food or not take it with at all, I would say to take it with food. I don't mind getting peptides from a doctor, but I'm having a huge problem with what doctors would trust, or if they have any experience or knowledge or education with peptides. There you go. Would you rather get your peptides from a doctor who doesn't know anything about them and tells you to take the wrong thing? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, I totally understand.
Yeah.
Totally understand that.
What up, Christy? She says, fully agree with Taylor. She's so on point. This subject with so many of my clients, also on Reddit, they have a burn feeling. And I think that gets induced from inflammatory foods. I think when inflammation is up, this Reddit burn feeling gets flared. Ladies need to eat less fat and more carbs. Yes.
Yeah.
Meal plan and my body completely changed. Thank you, Taylor, for helping me put carbs back in my life. Game changer mentally and for my thyroid too. You know what I think about people that carnivore people will hate when I say this. This is just a
Chris
thought.
used to be carnivore.
Like, if you ever notice, not all,
no,
a lot of carnivore people, they have this like underlying anxiety. Like if you look at them, they're not just like chilled out. And I think there's something to like carbs, because your body needs carbs just as much as it needs like fat or protein. Like more people, like if you took someone that just ate like 50 grams of fat or less per day and has like 300 or 400 grams of carbs, moderate to high amount of protein, like they're just kind of like more chilled out. Whereas I feel like people that are like constantly doing like carnivore or keto, they're just a little bit on edge.
I think there's one person that we know.
I'm not saying it's
not
everyone,
everybody, but I do think that there's the people that I've interacted with have majority been like that. I do know one person that like comes.
I'm sure,
to
and
mind
I know there's people
that there are, but like I do agree with that. But I'm saying it's very few. It's like 1 in 20 that you meet that are.
It's kind of like we're talking about like weed. It's like some people just need to be like, bro, take a hit of this. Like some people just like, bro, eat some fruit, or like just have
eat some rice,
like have a little bit of rice. Like I promise it's okay.
Have
just
a little
like
rice.
Have a little bit of rice.
Not going to hurt you. I promise.
It actually will be beneficial to you. And also too, GLPs have completely changed the paradigm. So like if you're so worried about it, just take a GLP. Problem solved.
Yeah.
What's up, Heather? She says if lifestyle, mindset, nutrition are not dialed in along with appropriate movement, it can serve a purpose to lose weight, but not the life-changing results that are possible on every level, which is 100% true.
Yeah. I think the lifestyle, like, and self-awareness is a huge one that people don't, and stress levels that people don't take into consideration.
Yeah.
I mean, and I personally like have struggled with that recently.
Yeah.
And it does make a difference. Like with how I'm retaining water, how I'm holding on to fat. Like I see that, I'm taking every peptide, every hormone, and I see the results of like high induced stress and cortisol levels affecting my physique right now. And that's something that people I think that gets ignored. And you have to take that into consideration too.
Yeah. Any experience in a great full parasite cleanse protocol? Parasite specifically, I know ivermectin is really great for parasites. You can do like ivermectin and Fenbin. Those are great. LL37 is great. KPV can be great. I think if you just did those right there, that would probably be a good parasite cleanse. I'm sure I'm not by any means an expert in a parasite cleanse. Yeah. That would just be like mine. If someone came to me and was like, hey, you got a parasite now, what would you do? That would be ideal. But there's way better people out there to talk about parasite cleanse.
Yeah.
Is there a limit on age for a man or woman to start hormone replacement? My OBGYN will not give any of her patients hormone replacement if she has not started with 10 years of her last cycle. This is complete garbage hogwash from doctors that have no idea what they're talking about. However,
Mhm.
if someone has not, like, let's say your last cycle was 10 years ago or more, and you have not been on hormones, yes, you do need to stair step and slowly introduce hormones.
Yep.
But this is absolute garbage information from the WHI that is trash, 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 trash. Do not listen to that. And so I would get a new doctor immediately.
Immediately.
The reason I'm
Yes.
even being kind of like obnoxious with that is because that is information that is factually been proven not to be true. Like documented, I could go find you the studies right now that prove that statement that came out of the WHI is wrong.
Mhm.
And for goodness sake, it's 2026
Mm.
here and we're still going on bad information.
Yeah, and you have to admit too, environmentally, that's affecting hormone levels, like, everything in the environment is affecting
When
it, and the thing is you don't wanna wait
no, but this is
until like, you're
the
not gonna wait until your oil you're gonna change your oil when it's time to change the oil. You're not going to wait until the oil is completely drained and
no,
completely
what the
empty.
doctor is saying though is that the WHI and the likes of that information tried to tell people that if they had their last cycle and that it's been 10 years or more since they had that, that introducing hormones would then cause cancer.
Yeah,
That's what the information the doctor is using. Say it is dangerous because you've not had hormones. To now reintroduce them would be dangerous to you. And that's baloney. Like it's just not true. So if you have type 2 diabetes, GLPs will only get you so far for certain. Amen to that. I have friends who have reached their goal weight without it. I plateaued 30 pounds away, still 70 pounds lighter and healthier. Exactly. I know a lot of people are turned off by him. Dr. Trevor just made a really good video explaining Reddit not working. There you go.
yeah.
Would it be okay to add KPV to the same syringe as TERS if a local reaction is occurring? Um, I mean, I wouldn't personally do that, but you could try it if you don't mind just like wasting a shot, see what happens. But I would ask yourself, why is a reaction occurring with the terzapatide? Like ask yourself that, and that would probably lead you to the right answer. Is it an immune thing? Is it a supply thing? I think it's more of an immune thing than a supply thing in most cases. But 11-year-old brain autoimmune condition, any delivery methods for cerebralizing beyond IM? I mean, you could do it sub Q, but no, not to my knowledge.
Yeah.
There probably have been people that have nebulized cerebralizing. I just wouldn't know how to go about doing that, nor do I know how effective it would actually be. Any recommendations for someone who has low blood counts across the board, low white blood cell count, red blood cell count, hemoglobin, hematocrit, neutrophils, and lymphocytes? 48-year-old female in great shape physically. Well, I would ask if you're on testosterone because a lot of times, to me, this is like probably like a nutrient deficiency thing. I would guess, just going off of what I'm hearing. And sometimes testosterone can help restore like red blood cell count and all those things. And so that would be my recommendation is like check your hormones. Say you're in great shape physically, which I'm sure is true, but it could be one of those things like the hormones are needed there, and there could be some sort of like deficiency. I'm not saying you're not healthy, but just some sort of deficiency that you could be missing
Mhm.
from like food or supplements or whatever. But what is the recommended dose of MK777? Just purchase their 12 milligram per pill. Is it one per night? Do you have to take it fasted like Tessa or IPA? Currently 1.5 milligram of Retta, 200 milligrams of test. Yes, 12 milligrams is fine. I do 10 milligrams. So I have 10 milligram capsules and I do 10
Mhm.
milligrams. Some people do 20 milligrams and they like that. And that's
Yeah.
good and good for them. You could do two. You could try 2 pills, which would be like 24 milligrams. See how you like it. But to me, 10 milligrams is perfect. Ideally, yes, you would take it fasted like Tessa and IPA. I think because that's a small molecule, probably less important, but I would still say important. So yes, I would do it fasted if at all possible. Although I don't think it would be, again, to go back to like, is it better to take it with food or to not take it at all? Probably better to take it with food
Mm.
and just in terms of the end result. If I want to take a break from Retta, can I use TERS as a bridge? Will that still reset receptors for future Retta use, or do I need to completely come off all GLPs to reset? What do you think?
I would come off of all GLPs for 4 weeks
Yeah.
and then either add Herzen or Retta back in.
Yeah. I do think you can potentially so they're different compounds. They're hitting the same receptors, but they are different compounds. And so I do think rotating back and forth between them, you do probably get some effect,
Mhm.
but it's not the same as cleaning out your receptors, which usually take a month based on the half-life.
Yeah.
It's 4 to 5 half-lives to eliminate, and a 6 to 7 day, that usually is a month time period. Now, the question is what do you do? I honestly think, okay, let's play a game for a second. You have 3 months, you've gotta be off of GLP. What do you do?
For 3 months?
Yeah.
I would run injectable 5-amino.
Yep.
I would actually do MOTS-C
Yep.
too, and then I would do probably
ATX all day.
ATX, yeah.
Yeah.
ATX or
Yeah.
Sloop.
Yeah.
Is what I would do. I would also, if I needed a little bit more endurance, maybe add some quarterine in
Mhm.
on my cardio days.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
I mean,
so that's what I would do.
HGH should always be a staple, and that'll be there to kinda help support you. Testosterone should always be a staple.
Yeah.
Desiccated thyroid should always be a staple, but that's exactly what I would've said. 5-amino, MOTS-C, ATX, could even throw some BAM SLU.
Yeah.
SLU by itself,
It's
BAM
actually the
BAM
cycle
by
that
itself.
I want to actually
Yeah.
run
Yeah. And then
right now.
what was the last one that we said? Carterine.
Cartering.
Boom. There you go. Yes, you're not gonna get the appetite suppression from that, but I think for fat loss, you can it's pretty darn close
Yeah.
to help you bridge a gap. And honestly, you wouldn't have to do it for 3 months. You could do a month or 2 and be still pretty good.
What's in that brown bottle that we take that tastes really bad? Is that Carterine?
That's GW0742, which is kinda like Carterine, but better. Which I like that too.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's better than Carterine.
Yeah.
There's just
I would use that.
there's just less human studies on it.
Yeah.
But I just take 10 milligrams of that.
Yeah.
Probably combine them too, but
I combine it with the Dada sometimes before I
Dada
lift.
would be another great one.
Dada.
Yeah. Yeah. L-carnitine. Take your
L-carnitine.
L-carnitine.
Yep.
I bring mocktails to all my events and have fun with it so much so my friends always want what I'm drinking. There you go. Exactly. Give me some of that. It's all up here and in here in your heart.
It's funny because I've done that at some family events, and one of my family members is like, "Oh, this is really good. It'd be good with some vodka."
Yeah. I hear the term a low dose Retta all the time without defining low dose. In terms of longevity, inflammation, metabolic benefits, what dose range do you consider low dose? I mean, specifically to answer the question, I would say probably under 2.5 milligrams would be
Anything under
the
2.5
low
would be
dose.
low.
But for some people, it can be different. Some people, the low dose is 100 micrograms. Some people, it's 1.5 milligrams. Some people, it might be 3.5 milligrams. That's still a relatively low dose to the pharmaceutical dose of 8 to 10 milligrams.
I remember when I made the video of high dosing Retta, and the highest I went was 4 milligrams, and people were like, "That's not even a high dose." They were hating in the comments, which
relatively speaking,
I mean, relatively to who you are. I mean, compared to 12 milligrams, yeah, that is a low dose.
Yeah. Been on HRT since February. Test C, desiccated thyroid, DHEA, and vitamins. 2 weeks ago, I began a cycle of SS31, now experiencing 20% in loss of strength. Could this be from the SS31? I've never seen that. So anything is possible, but I've never seen a 20% loss in strength from SS31. If anything, I feel really good strength-wise whenever I do. So not saying it's not that, but it also could be something else, but doesn't sound like there's any other variables there. So I don't know. That's a tough one. Do you think it's still safe to sell as a research company? I've seen a lot of FDA letters sent out last week. I mean, safe, are you going to jail?
Yeah,
I would
that's what
say
they meant.
no. I wouldn't worry.
There's no criminal.
Yeah. So what if you actually look at those letters? What it is telling them you're selling GLPs as misbranded drugs. Also, the ones that got in trouble, they had school groups and things like that, telling people doses, and they've got studies on the website talking about fat loss and things. And so That's what they're getting in trouble for, is the presentation of those and also for GLPs. But if you notice, there wasn't a lot said about like BPC, MOTS-C, those things.
Mhm.
It was really just the GLPs, which
GLPs.
again, that's what they care about. This is a big rug pull that we're dealing with right now. We're going to give the people their peptides. We're going to give you low life slaves your peptides, and we're going to maintain territory over the GLPs
Yeah.
and make all the money off the GLPs. That's my opinion. But do I think it's safe? I think it's safe, but it's not that it's risk free, but it's also too, if you look at the people that gotten criminally in trouble for peptides, it's not really the peptides. Like there was a company that was selling peptides and they were also spiking their SARMs with testosterone. More people are getting in trouble for SARMs.
Yeah.
And then also when you put a controlled substance inside of your SARMs and then tell people that it's not that it's a SARM, but there's testosterone in it, we got a problem.
Yeah.
And so that's what people get in trouble for. Also faking COAs that just like looks bad. And so it draws bad attention to you. But I think there are a certain set of guidelines that if you operate by, you should be fine selling research peptides. And so again, as long as it's actually research and that you can document for its research. But if you have influencers promoting your product, that's where they don't like it. They don't like you saying that this is for research purposes, yet influencers are injecting themselves on camera and posting it all over TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
So
they also just put in the comments, the companies that are getting the letters need to shut down or just remove GLPs?
They, on the letters, tell them they have 15 days or 14 days to remedy what they got cited for, and then to resubmit their website or whatever to the FDA. So they're not even saying that. And then if they don't do that, then the next step that if you look on the letter is basically injunction or seizure, which means that they're going to shut down your website or stop you from selling or take your funds or whatever. And so again, not a lawyer at all, not legal advice. Do never act on anything that I say. However, what I'm telling you is that it appears that there are lots of steps along the way before it would become something that you're like, oh man, like I'm really in trouble here. But again, I'm not saying like
they're basically not sending letters like I'm going to shut you.
Yeah, they're not saying like
if you are selling this.
Yeah, and they're not saying
it's more
like
so you
we're
need
going
to
to
remove
arrest
X,
you.
Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Or
yes. Or
then we're going to pursue the next
like
step.
Come after you if you're like going to continue to do this very blatantly. And so it's kind of sucks because like those people get singled out probably because of the scale that they're at.
Yeah.
But it's like they're not alone in doing it. You know, there's other people doing it. So what is a good detox protocol? Well, Sean, if you check, I know you're in the group, Sean. If you go back to the live call that we did, we actually just did a whole thing on detox and there's a whole slide deck
you
can download. I think it was
like
2 weeks ago. No, it was
last week.
So like not this past Thursday, but the last Thursday. Sum that up. Activated charcoal, spirulina, chlorella, zeolite, glutathione, NAC, glycine. That'll be most of it. Sauna. There you go. With transdermal peptides, since they come mixed, are they temperature stable or do you still want to store them in the fridge? What do you think? I think they're temperature. In my experience, they're temperature stable and they have been over the course of me using them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that's fine.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't hurt to put them in the fridge, but Taylor, are you still using the TB BPC eye drops? Any updates or tips? Sorry if I missed an update video.
I have not been using those eye drops and I
probably should.
Need to.
Yeah.
I need to. Yeah. I haven't. But I mean, I've had so much like positive feedback that people saying using those for floaters and sharpness, the floaters going away, sharpness and vision. So
yeah. P21 seems to help a little bit too.
Yes, it does. It does. And cerebral niacin.
There's a new study that came out that said hexarelin improves retina health. Interesting. That's a funny one, that hexarelin. It's like got use cases, but it's just not one I would do all the time. What protocol do you recommend for a 45-year-old woman who has been in perimenopause for over 5 years, on HRT, have a lot of muscle strength, train 4 times per week, and teach 2 cycling classes per week? And then here we go. Need some more information. Need to lose 8 to 10 pounds of fat, have stayed at the same weight for 8 years, and body scan shows BMI 24%. Maybe she means body fat 24%. Weigh 153 and 5'6". Would love to see more muscle definition.
I would say a GLP. I would say changing up macros, because that can make a difference in the physique, cutting down fats, upping the protein, upping the carbs. And I would add more strength training days.
The simple way that I think about this is 5 things: testosterone, growth hormone, or a growth hormone peptide, insulin sensitizer via GLP or metformin or Jardiance or all 3, desiccated thyroid, something to support the thyroid, and
progesterone,
then a mitochondrial agent, MOTS or SS31.
And I saw HRT, but progesterone too is going to be a big one, because that's going to help with your stress levels.
Yeah. Protocol for gout. My obese friend I have on Reddit keeps getting a flare up. Jardiance, metformin, GLP, hormones in check. Those will knock out most gout because a lot of it stems back to
acid,
insulin resistance.
Yeah.
Jardiance or Farxiga. And the reason I say Farxiga is it just became a generic. So you can get Farxiga if you can get a doctor to write a prescription for you for like $30 a month. Instead of
that reminds me, I didn't take that this morning because I couldn't find it. You relabeled the thing and I couldn't read your
writing. I know. It's because
also wine can also cause gout. A lot of people think it's like shellfish and red meat, but the wine actually is one of the biggest flare-ups of gout because it's sugar.
Yeah. Wendy says, forgot to say my husband is using 100 milligrams. I'm guessing this is of the cream, which is a low dose of cream. Typically, you want to see 200 milligrams per gram of the cream. So yeah, even worse because you're getting a lower dose that then will shut down, but you're not getting the high enough dose. What a shame with the doctor. Regarding the PEPs moving out of category 2, any thoughts on how long it'll be before social media algos loosen up on restrictions for discussing them? Never. So this is how it works, guys. There are these companies. So take any company, do this. Type in any company and say Eli Lilly, top 5 shareholders. Meta, top 5 shareholders. TikTok, top 5 shareholders. What other platforms? Google, Alphabet, because it's not Google, it's Alphabet. Alphabet, top 5 shareholders. And you will see a recurring pattern. BlackRock, State Street, Global Advisors, probably going to get all the stuff we're going to talk about in this podcast, video, live stream, and this is what's going to get it kicked down. BlackRock, State Street, Global Advisors, Vanguard, and maybe a little bit of what other asset holders are out there. Those would be like the big 3. So look up any of your favorite people, the favorite platforms or the favorite company. Look up their top 3 shareholders and see who they're owned by. Then you start to realize, oh, Visa and MasterCard, who are their top 3 shareholders. Look up who the top 3 shareholders are, and then tell me if there's not a theme going on there. And so when it's all run by the same people, if they have a vested interest in pushing a certain profit agenda, that's what it's going to be. So do I see the restrictions loosening up anytime soon? No. And as much as the FDA has good intentioned people that want to do the right thing, always go back. Remember what I said, it always goes back to the money. And so I would just tell you that. And it's unfortunate because believe me, if there's anyone that would love to see a loosening up of restrictions on social media, it would be me. And I feel like my stuff is pretty bland compared to what's out there.
Yeah, it is.
Intentionally.
Yeah.
I was actually just talking about this with one of my best friends and Taylor. I was talking about this morning. What I'm going to do as everything in social media continues to become like short form, I'm going to become so obnoxiously long form that it is so aggressive and obnoxious. It's like, wow. Like I want to do 3 to 4 hour long videos on a specific topic so that it's so obnoxiously boring that if it gets taken down, it's if that's what's getting taken down versus the stuff that's on short form social media, then it probably is really a threat, because I want it to be so boring and so dry that it's It's like, how could you take that down because no one would even watch it? Like, that's how boring it is.
That's so on brand for you.
So on
So on
brand.
brand.
And so you will see as everything in social media continues to get like more like outrageous, mine is going to get like continue to like reverse outrage. Maybe that's a good phrase for it. Reverse outrage.
Yeah.
Like so boring that you would like put it on to go to sleep at night. Although I would pity the person that would like play my videos at night to go to sleep. But it probably would be a good thing. What is the best peptide to go to sleep? Just turn on my videos and they will bore you to death. It's kind of funny because like when random people ask me what I do and I tell them, they're like, oh, can I like see your stuff online or whatever? I'm like, you want to bore yourself to death, go ahead. And I think a lot of times people are like, how does this like when they go, like a stranger meets you, not like people that watch us, like a stranger meets you and then they actually go look up your videos. They are so confused as to what is going on. This person is just talking into a microphone about the most boring. Not only is he talking to a microphone, he's mumbling and trailing off at the end of his sentences, nonetheless. And people still find it so compulsive to watch. They are very confused.
Yeah.
So thank you guys.
That's like majority of our family.
Thank you guys to the people that are watching right now that support us and everything because we love you. Like it's a dream come true. Really, what I mean that when I say this for me to get to do this.
Yeah.
Because I was actually a person that watched whatever ecosystem it is. I was talking about this podcast called Hardcore History with Taylor this morning, and Dan Carlin. I haven't listened to it in a long time. I don't even know if he still makes them. He would do like these 4-hour podcast episodes that like to most people would be so boring, but I thought it was the coolest thing because they were like so detailed. And I love doing that. And I would listen to them when I was like driving or doing monotonous work or something like that, or cardio or something. And so that is my mission with my content. When everyone is preying upon the lowest common denominator of fear and outrage, I want my stuff to be so boring that you will snore within 3 minutes of hearing it. And then my mission is done. So
okay. I love that for you.
I just went on
I support you.
But someone brought up the social media. And so those are my current thoughts on the state of the union in regards to peptide social media. I've heard that LDN can help reset receptor sensitivity. Mm-hmm. Say that 5 times fast. Amongst the other benefits, is there any truth to this? And if so, can you talk about that a little bit? Also, what dosages are you guys taking? There is a truth to it. And I think saying it resets receptor sensitivity is probably, it's the easy way to say it. It's probably not what's actually happening. It's an immune system modulator. So what it does is basically any peptide that you take, your body's going to have some sort of immune response to it, which is why we cycle on and cycle off. Now, I don't want you to think that means that you're like going to get an autoimmune disease from taking peptides. What it means is that you build up these things called anti-drug antibodies to the peptide. And when you do that, it stops working at the same dose, at the same effectiveness. And what LDN does is it modulates that immune response to everything in the body, namely peptides. And when you take it, you maintain better sensitivity to the peptide over time with LDN because you're getting this constant signal of an immune modulation. And so that's what it does. I personally take 3 milligrams at night before bed, and I love it. It's one of my favorite things. And I think it's very underrated to do. Lindsay says, love you guys. Wondering any suggestions for Raynaud's. I just finished a 4-week cycle on VIP. Can you run that longer or anything else you would recommend? Yeah, VIP could be great. You could probably do that for another like 4 to 6 weeks, at least. And I would say Raynaud's, I think a lot of times is a blood flow issue. So BPC and TB500 would help. ARA 290 would probably help with that. Vesigen would probably help with that. And I think thyroid a lot of times is very important for Raynaud's.
Yeah.
How much that's related to the blood vessel constriction or lack of blood flow, I don't know. But what?
You hear that?
Somebody's like revving their engine outside of our house.
That was our nephew's truck.
Oh, he was coming to pick up those chairs.
Yeah. I was like, what is that? And did not realize how loud his truck is. You gotta love living in the South with loud trucks.
I've never been one to love pipes. Have always like the loud muffler. That's always annoyed me.
That's so weird because I feel like it doesn't annoy your brothers and your
No. So even as a teenager, pipes annoy me. What I'm saying is that when I was 16, my dream was to get subwoofers in the back of my 97 Honda Accord so that I could just like put in my iPod video and just turn up rap music to the point to like where it was like vibrate, like the windshield would be vibrating. And I never got those, thankfully. Moved on to better things, but um, I've never got the pipes. And what I'm saying is that when I was 16 and I wanted subwoofers so that I could play rap music really loud in my old car, I hated pipes at that point too. So like, is it a prefrontal cortex not being developed thing, or is it just people like annoying other people with loud pipes so that you
I
hear
like a
them?
loud truck. I mean, that is excessively loud. Like my nephew's truck is extremely loud. Like it annoys even like his parents how loud it is.
I
And
drive a truck. I love trucks. I just don't like loud things.
I like it to be a little loud.
Why though?
I don't know, because I grew up in the
I grew up in a
South.
tobacco
Like,
field
I
too.
know,
Like I grew up
like,
in the South, but it's just,
I don't know.
and I say this
just
like my family, at some point,
I don't
every one
know.
of my family members had pipes on their truck that was really loud. So
Like Alpha, I don't know.
I guess what really annoys me is the motorcycles, like the loud.
Oh, that
motorcycles,
I don't like. That's annoying. Yeah,
like
that's
that's
annoying.
just like then it scares you on the road too. It's just like going along, driving 3 miles over.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh,
and then
like
all
you
of a
hear it,
sudden,
and it's
like,
like,
boom,
oh,
it's like right beside you. So
twitch.
yeah, but the loud noises.
Yeah, sorry guys.
I guess better that than hearing a leaf blower and a weed eater for 2 hours straight. Oh wait, we had that too.
We had that every Saturday. Like
right when we turn on the coffee
it's right
talk,
when we turn on the
it's
coffee
like,
talk, or right when I'm about to go sit outside is like when they come. I'm just like, they're trolling me.
yeah.
The neighbors, landscapers are trolling me.
And then you realize like how self-centered it is to think that like the universe is trolling you.
Yeah, I know.
When it's like those guys are just like living their day.
Yeah.
It's like we don't want to be here on a Saturday.
They don't want to be. I know. I do feel bad. I used to have to work.
I used to spread mulch on Saturdays, and I hated
on
that.
Saturdays. I hated.
And there's just like grass clippings and mulch going everywhere, and you're like, I don't want to be here right now.
And now I'm like, oh, there's grass clippings in the pool.
Everywhere. Yeah, such is life. Taylor, can you go into detail on your nootropic protocol? I heard you mention recently on a podcast. I believe that was with Drew, P21, maybe?
Yeah. So P21 is definitely one that I like to use for on my nootropic protocol. I would say P21, cerebral lysin have been my favorite. And then like for oral, I like using Nupep a lot. Dihexa is another great one.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the nootropic stuff, like those just do so well. Like I took Nupep on Thursday because we were flying and I had a lot of work. I was like, man, it just works so good.
It does.
What I'm saying is like, I don't want to get to the point where those don't work anymore.
Yeah. And those are honestly like, I don't run a lot of nootropic like cycles. Like honestly, I just recently used cerebral lysin, like just like a month ago. And that's the first time I've used it throughout my whole like peptide journey over the last several years. That's the first time I've used it. Yeah. So I do think it's not something that like I focus on a lot, just because I do feel like nootropic wise and like brain function wise, I feel like I'm pretty good, but I do think it is beneficial to like, I like to kind of like pop nootropic stuff in there, like depending on what we have going on. If I have to be like present and talking a lot, it's more of a tool, like as needed. Whereas in like, I don't like purposely run cycles for it. If I do, I would maybe do it like once a quarter or something.
I do see a lot of people, like I was talking to your mom about this, like they have family members that have died of dementia or passed away from dementia. I have too. And they're so worried about that. And what I want to tell them is like, look, I know that that's a real thing. I know that ApoE4 double allele is a real thing. And that prevalence of dementia is a real thing. However, none of those people like had what we use. They didn't have hormone therapy. They didn't have peptides and everything. And so like, it's just, we don't really know yet how effective those will be at completely like stopping that from ever showing up in someone. But I feel like it's going to be pretty darn effective when we look over the next 30 years of the cohorts of people using peptides. And we look at the incidence of, I mean, you can already see it in things like Jardiance and semaglutide and things that we have even a
GLPs,
little bit
yeah.
of data on. But it's like when you talk about all this stuff together, what it's going to do is like, I don't know. As someone has had tons of concussions, to the point of like permanently impacting my brain and what peptides can do, I just like, I don't think it's something to worry about
Yeah.
aggressively.
Yeah. It's interesting because you weren't outside when I was actually talking to my mom about this um the other day when we were sitting outside, and because we were talking about hormone replacement therapy and testosterone, and she was saying that like she hasn't taken any she hadn't taken any Retta in like I think it was like a week, and she noticed like pain coming back like in her wrist area. She was like, "When I'm not on the Retta, I notice it go down." I was like, "Well, it's helping with the inflammation." And then we were talking about brain function, and she told me, now my mom is not on estradiol yet. We are getting her on it now, but she's been on testosterone for about 6 months, maybe about 6 months, and
Max.
max, because my mom's always like, she's not the best about taking things on a regular basis. But she told
Hmm.
me she notices such a big difference in her brain cognition. And I noticed a difference. Like, I remember when just even like going back, like, think about like the first time you met my mom versus her brain function now, like how much it's improved. And she even said, she was like, I feel like my brain is sharper because of the testosterone. She's like, I can't describe it, but it's just like, it just feels clear. And she's like, "I just don't understand, like," she's like, "I don't know why your sisters won't do this. I don't understand why, like, my girlfriend at the beach, like, maybe you can talk to her." I'm like, "No, I'm not talking to your friends." And she's in that phase of, like, waking up where you're starting to feel the difference of everything working, and now you wanna help all these people around you. Um, and I've been there, and why I made social media and a YouTube channel is because of this.
No, you did that because I made you.
Didn't do it because you made me.
I'm kidding.
No, I did it for myself. You taught me how to do everything. Um, but that plays a big impact. And estrogen with the brain, like there's studies out there like that it will help with the brain. It helps keep the brain fatty and healthy.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like, okay, if you have a person on testosterone, like a woman, testosterone, estrogen, plus a GLP, plus Jardiance, plus metformin, plus
Mhm.
thyroid, plus some SS31. Like, what does that look like over 30 years? Can you get dementia? I'm sure it's still possible,
Yeah, I think
but
it's
I just think
still
it's a lot less likely.
yeah.
And so I guess the point is like people always ask like, well, what peptide can I take? Because I'm a candidate for dementia. It's like, well, just do the things that we talked about right there.
Yeah.
And that's going to solve 95% of the problems.
Yeah.
Question. I keep saying Retta should only be used once a week since it has a 6-day half-life, or do you still recommend 3 times a week? Okay. Let me say this in the most compassionate way possible. I don't care how people take Retta. You can take it once a week, you can take it once a month, you can take it once a year, you can take it once a day. I do not care. And I will not tell anyone that there is a certain way that you
Mhm.
have to take it because there's infinite ways that you could take Retta. However, what do we do with testosterone? Testosterone cypionate has a half-life of 6 to 7 days in most people. Do you inject testosterone once a week? Once every 2 weeks? No, it is very accepted to do testosterone at least twice a week, and in most cases, 3 to 4 times per week if you're injecting it. And so when it comes to Retta, because they were designed for people to be compliant with them with the half-life, because they know people are going to do once a week more than they'll do once a day
Yeah.
or 3 times a week, they were designed that way to be able to have that half-life so that people just say, "Oh, 1 shot a week. That's all I got to do."
Mhm.
And so when people get into arguing over, no, it's once a week because some made up reason about like it's got to get into your brain that way. Like if you want it that way, by all means do it. If you want okay, here's the thing. If you want a big spike and a big trough, do it once a week. That's what you're getting.
Yep.
If you want a very even keel experience to which you stay within a very tight, narrowly defined range based
Mhm.
on your dose so that you don't have big swings in the feeling from it to where it feels just more even keel, then you could do it multiple times per week. And I say that because I've been asked this so much and people love to fight over once a week versus like this, and then there's microdosing, and then, it's just like you got to do what works for you. So like the answer is whatever works for you is the answer. But if you want to stay within a range to which you don't have big swings, then split it up. And if you want to feel more side effects, especially relative to the dose, then do it once a week. But like I could do it once a week depending on the dose and be fine. But like if I'm going to do 5 milligrams of Retta, I'm breaking that up into 1.3333333 milligram injections.
Mhm.
Or excuse me, it would not be one. That would be 4 milligrams. But that's what I get for doing public math. But anyway, like that's what I'm going to do. And that's just my preference. And I don't want to fight people on that. I know this question is not fighting, but it's
No,
just
they're
one of
not
those things
fighting
like
it.
people get up in arms about split dosing, and it really doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, if you take it, it's going to do what it does.
I say
And that's
try
the
both
most
and see what works best for
Yeah,
you.
try both. Try both. Just try both and see what works best for you. And if you like
Yeah.
it once a week, then by all means do it.
Do it.
But there's no like I get, and the
There's
reason
no
too
right
is
or wrong.
I get messages all the time of people telling me like I'm wrong for recommending that. And to that, I would say like, what is right or wrong? Because if you want a big swing, then yes, I am wrong.
Yeah.
If you want more stable levels, then no, I would not be wrong. And again, that's just subjective. And so there's like, it's hard to say like objectively what it would be.
Yeah.
HGH dose for loose skin. Unfortunately, nothing. You will have to get surgery in most cases for loose skin. So instead of water and sugar, use apple juice for fruit flies. So we'll get some apple juice.
Yeah.
In addition to TRT, suggested addition dosing of oral DHEA and pregnenolone for men, morning or night. My preference, if you're going to do both, would be 25 to 50 milligrams of DHEA in the morning, and then 10 to 25 milligrams of pregnenolone at night. But you don't always need that. Some men don't need that. I don't take DHEA, although I did get some injectable DHEA that I'm going to experiment with and see if that has an effect. But the oral doesn't really do anything for me, and my levels are always usually really, really good. And so I don't, but I do love pregnenolone. Like I do really well with pregnenolone. So that would be my recommendation for those. I actually don't know the answer to this question. Before a colonoscopy, how long should you stop taking GLP-1s, and can you still take Cagri? I don't know. I do not know enough about colonoscopies to tell
Probably,
you.
I would say,
Don't
I
you
were
want to be
to
flushed
guess,
out?
you want to be flushed out. So I would say come off of GLPs for like probably like at least a good month because it's going to slow down gastric emptying. Also not pro colonoscopies.
Yeah, I don't know enough.
Yeah. There's, I think sometimes there's more damages that can come from that, but I would say stop it for at least 4 weeks because of the gastric emptying. So.
Yeah. Got some good advice on fruit flies. If you leave fruit on counter, rinse with white vinegar, especially at the top of the banana bunch and around apple stems.
Awesome.
Are there any downsides on long-term LDN titrated up to 4.5 milligram for overall feeling good and preventing erythema multiform flare-ups? I don't think so. There's not anything in the literature that demonstrates that. And so the answer is like, clinically speaking, we don't know. I don't see any reason why it would be, but I don't think it's bad. I've been using it consistently without cycling off for the last 6 months, 6 to 9 months, but I don't think it's bad. I don't see any reason why it would be.
Yeah. I keep freezing.
Your camera?
Both.
Or
I don't know. It looks like it's like kind of.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like it was choppy earlier, but like on my computer, it's like smooth right now.
Okay.
Is yours chopping?
It was a minute ago.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like the internet or.
Yeah. Hopefully it's just not for you guys.
Yeah.
Sorry if it is.
Yeah, methylene blue while traveling, I've heard that's good. Could be a good antiviral. I purchased 10 vials of ACE31. I'm a postmenopausal woman and want to combat muscle loss in my thighs. I can't seem to find any real world protocols. Do you have any suggestion? Thank you very much. Yeah, so ACE31 has a pretty long half-life, like 15 days. And if you have 10 vials, they're probably 1 milligram vials. For a postmenopausal woman, I would do 100. This is what I would start with, is like 100 micrograms 3 times per week. So I would do 100 micrograms on my training days, pre or post workout, and I would run that for a little while and see how you do. There was a clinical trial with postmenopausal woman. Now they were giving them 300 milligrams, which is very, very high, once per month. And it did increase muscle, but they had to stop the trials because basically there was like vascular toxicity with that. But again, that's 300 milligrams. So that's literally one. Imagine taking 300 bottles all at one time. That's the dose that they were doing with that. So that would be my recommendation of H31. I've used it. It works great. When you get into the myostatin inhibitors, I'm not here today to talk about myostatin inhibitors and which ones work and which ones don't. I think ACE31 is as good as any of them out there. So that would be my recommendation there. Hey, Hunter, my wife and I are wanting to get blood work done. Also want to find a doctor around Tulsa, Oklahoma area for blood work that deals with hormones, specifically GH. Just send me an email and I can see if I can help. I don't know if I know one. I may have one in Oklahoma area that I could connect you with, but just send me an emaemail. Someone said AG1 is terrible for you. Probably. I don't even know enough about it. I just know they sponsor like every podcast out there. Good at marketing, I guess. Is there any peptide certifications and official classes that a layperson can take, or do you have to be a doctor? Yes, give me all your money. The only one that you can take is mine because it's the only one. No, I'm kidding.
You don't have a peptide course.
I actually, we were kind of talking about this morning. Is like, there's plenty of peptide courses, and I would say plenty of ones that are good out there. Sarah Morgan has Amino Academy is good. There's obviously like A4M and SSRP and those things, and those are good. It's kind of weird. If I made a course, I would just give it away for free. But then you give it away for free, and then people don't value it, and then it's like, is it a real certification if you don't pay for it or whatever? But it is funny because actually this morning we were talking about like there's a desperate demand for like really, really good peptide education. Yeah, that's like very structured. And I know this is like, one, I just need the time and need to take the time to sit down and do that on top of what I'm already doing. And people are like, I love your podcast, but like, how am I supposed to learn this? And I get that, I get it's like a just scattered information. So
listen to it over and over and over again.
Sorry for you and your spouse.
That's how if
you're out there listening.
That's how I learned.
My voice over and over again. No, it's true. It's just it's absorption. And it's also like, see, I think people want like a very structured course because it makes us feel good inside to be like, oh, I sat down and I took that course and then I was done. Yeah. When in reality, like the best, like I get a lot of like health coaches, not so many doctors, because doctors, if you tell them what to do, most of them know how to go do it. Yeah. A lot of health coaches are like, they're like, I got to go learn all of this stuff. I got to take this. 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 I got to get 17 letters and whatever. And that's fun. I have nothing against doing that. If there's anyone that learns and wants to learn, it's me. Like I'm constantly trying to learn stuff. The best learning I do though comes from what I'm doing right now. Yeah. And talking with people. The best way to do it is take reps. And so I get a lot of health coaches or people that do any sort of thing where they get paid for their expertise in regards to health. And they're always like, well, I need this. They have a limiting belief that they need more education. In some cases they do, but they have this limiting belief they need more education and to feel that they have permission to go coach people or advise people on peptides. Yeah. And the only way to really do that, no matter how, whether you take no courses or 100 courses, is to actually do it. Because all the courses in the world don't change the fact of like when you have someone that you're working with and they tell you, I took this and it did this to me. That's when you learn. Yeah. And that's where
it's applying it to action.
Yeah. And that's where like, I will say like, if there's one unique advantage I have, it's not my intelligence. It's not like any certain, like I'm not good at creating content or anything like that. It's that I have just over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, talked with people, talked about this, experimented on myself, talked with other people. And so I see more, I would say this, if there's one thing I'm the best at, I have more anecdotal peptide user data in my head from people that I've talked to than most people on the planet, maybe anyone. Yeah. And that's where it's like, that's where you learn the most is when you experiment on yourself and you go out and you help people with peptides. Yeah. That's the best course you can take. And I'm not saying that to say the courses are bad, that the courses out there are bad. It's just that like people want this warm, fuzzy feeling from saying, oh, I took this and I'm certified in this. Now I have the right.
Now I have like it's like they feel like they have like now the accreditations to be able to go out and talk and teach it and use it into action. It's kind of like I can sit here and watch, buy 8 different online painting course videos and watch all of them, but until I actually go and paint and apply those techniques and experiment with those techniques is in when I'm gonna learn and grow as an artist.
It's
So it's
very
very similar
yeah.
to peptides.
It's very similar. Like I think about this. I went to one of a top 10 in the country undergraduate business school,
Mhm.
Wake Forest University. Go Deeks. I what?
Nothing good.
What?
Nothing.
You said, mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Taylor's like, no one cares, dude.
No.
Trying to make a point. I'm trying to make a point here.
No.
So
Sorry.
I went to a top 10 undergraduate business school in the
Mhm.
country. I majored in finance at that school. I also minored in international political, I think it was political affairs, basically political science. So I have a degree in finance, political science. And I will tell you this, nothing that I did in college from a course standpoint led me, well, everything led me to where I am today. Nothing that I did from a course standpoint in my college degree
Mhm.
is relevant to what I do today. However, the critical thinking skills that I learned from having to do those things, the writing through my political science and also a liberal arts education, because in your undergrad at Wake
Yeah.
Forest, you have to take disciplines from every, or education from every discipline in your first 2 years there, and then you move into your major coursework. None of the material itself is relevant to anything that I do the way, but how I think is very relevant to what I do today.
Yeah.
And I think if you understand like continuing education and courses like that, none of the material that you learn from a course, I don't want to say none, but like very little of the coursework that you do if you take a peptide course is going to be relevant to how well you help people. That comes from actually doing it.
Yeah.
What the course can do though is give you a framework for understanding how to think about these things
Mhm.
so that you can then go out and apply that and put it to test in the real world and then get feedback and then understand how you go about helping people.
Yeah.
And so like, believe it or not, guys, once upon a time, I injected tirzepatide once a week because I thought that was the best thing to do. And I don't remember how it originated or whatever, but we started in the community, started playing around like, okay, let's break
Yeah.
this up and see. And we notice, oh, we take the total dose, we break it up. All of a sudden, it's a little bit better now. Side effect profile is less. I remember distinctly taking tirzepatide, and I would take it on a Tuesday, and on Friday nights, at that time I was training in the afternoon, and Friday nights I could not. It was like 3.5 days. I was so sick I could not eat anything. Like I would
Mhm.
like train my butt off, and I would like need to go eat after, and I was like so sick I could not eat anything, and I was like, this is not good. And then I remember like Sunday night, I would be like, oh, it's all gone now.
Yeah.
You know, and like when you split up. And so the point being is like when it comes to courses, there's great courses out there, but it comes from doing the work. Just as like business school can set you up, you can get an MBA, you can get a PhD in business, but until you go out and you knock on that first door, or you cold call that first person, and you get your first client or whatever it is, your
Yeah.
first customer, and you hear what they tell you back, you can't learn that in a course. That comes from actually doing it. So, Taylor, what is your experience with orforglipron? I bought some, wondering about your experience as a female taking it. Seems like 6 milligrams is higher than starting dose. I think that is the starting dose because it goes from like 6 milligrams to 36 milligrams. But what are your thoughts?
I think it is really good. I think I definitely got a lot of appetite suppression and almost kind of made me nauseous, like kind of like that first time taking tirzepatide. So I mean, for me, it's very strong. Now I've had other women say that they've used it and it does nothing for them. So I say start with like one capsule. If you need to add more until you get appetite suppression with it.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I'll hear people say it doesn't do anything at all for them, and then some
Yeah.
people say like 6 milligrams like knocks them out. For
Yeah.
me, 12 to 18 milligrams for me was like, okay, it feels good.
Yeah.
Got
12 was
appetite
like, I
suppression.
couldn't do any more than 12.
Yeah, but it's good. I mean,
Yeah.
good stuff. FDA approved now, by the way. Thank you, Shinna. We appreciate your support.
Yes.
Thank you. My clinic has me on sublingual TRT, 200 milligrams 2 times a day. Said it more naturally mimics the natural rhythm of tea. Is this a good delivery method? Not in my opinion, but that's just my opinion.
It's better than nothing.
Everyone's got an opinion. Yeah, it's better than
Better
nothing, but I would say probably not. And so it's up to you
Yeah.
what you do. I'm not telling you to do one or the other. I just personally wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But in the idea of like naturally mimicking the natural rhythm of tea, it's not wrong, but it's also like, I don't know.
I
Maybe
know
I'm
women
going out
that were
on
on it and they had the worst mood swings.
I'm going out on a
The
limb
women
here.
that
I
I know
don't
on it.
know that I necessarily want to naturally mimic. Like, I would rather feel good in a
I just wanna
therapeutic
feel
range.
good.
Yeah. If the mimic was within a therapeutic range, yes, but to the point we were talking about earlier with the cream, I don't want it to mimic natural production to which it goes back to 0 every day, you know?
Yeah.
Because then you're just kind of like going on this roller coaster. And a lot of times the bad side effects come from the delta in the administration, meaning that like the change rather than the hormone.
Yeah.
Meaning like that you're constantly like moving up and
Moving
down
up and
out of
down, moving up and
ranges. That's
down.
where you get bad side effects.
Yeah.
What's up, Jim? Good to see you here. Question from Taylor. My partner has used GHK to get rid of sunspots caused by birth control years ago. They're like 80% gone, but still somewhat there. Any ideas to help?
This is well, one, you could try a topical glutathione cream that could help, but my go-to, and I had sunspots, I had melasma, my go-to product will be Better Skin Science has an even intense brightening serum that has been the best one. Again, it's expensive, but it's to me, it's worth spending the money on the more expensive product. You don't have to use as much rather than buying a bunch of cheaper products that ends up being more expensive in the long term. So I would get that product.
Yeah.
Or there's one from Elastine. Their brightening serum's really good too.
Thanks, Jim. Said he's loving the MK777.
Mhm.
Was going to do some methylene blue and liposomal glutathione after a pretty intense photo shoot prep. Any other recommendations? Maybe some bioregs to restore cycle. I don't think those are bad.
No, I don't think they're bad. I don't know if they're gonna help with restoring the cycle. I think
Meaning that they're not going to have any direct effect on the reproductive system. The bioregulators could help,
could help.
but you may need to replace the hormones too.
Yeah.
Does daily minimum of around 50 grams of fat for a male become irrelevant in taking TRT? In my opinion, it does. So there's this idea that like you need saturated fats to synthesize the cholesterol for testosterone, which is true. However, what if you get your testosterone from a syringe? Do you need that? I don't know that you necessarily do. I still think you need healthy fats. But I do think it becomes much less of a conversation of you like relying on those fats to try to get the testosterone that you need, which a lot of times is not going to happen anyway. But yes, I do think that you can be perfectly healthy without like a massive amount of fat. You
Yeah.
still need a minimum amount for
Yeah.
sure. My wife is taking Carlax for I am into the shoulder for injury. Is it better for her to do sub-Q because she's complaining of throbbing post-injection? Yeah, sure. She can try. I would just try it to see
Yeah.
what works best for her. The best thing you can just do is get into it.
Yeah. I would maybe, I mean, it could also be the Cardilax because it is a spicier injection for me. It is anyway. I would maybe consider adding maybe like a BPC or KPV or TB to
Yeah.
it to maybe help with that, to get some of that relief.
Yeah. Gut health as important as HRT. Very
Yes.
true. When taking glutathione, do you need to take a binder, for instance, activated charcoal? I don't think so. Depends on though, like how are you poisoned? Then probably. But if you're just kind of like running a maintenance thing, I don't
Yeah.
think you need to do it every time you take your glutathione. I titrated to 8 milligrams of retatrutide over 9 months. I plateaued for about 6 weeks now. Is adding or switching over to tirzepatide a good idea? If so, what dose should I start with? It's really up to you. I mean, I would just ask before you even do that, what other things are going on there? Do you have other peptides addressing other different pathways for fat loss? That would be my first recommendation because you could stay on that dose of retatrutide. All of a sudden, you throw in some MOTC, some
Mhm.
hormones, some cardarine, some ATX, any of those things that we talked about, 5-amino, MOTC, whatever.
Yeah.
And you could probably just keep on doing that.
Yeah.
And so that would be my recommendation. But yeah, sure, you could switch over to tirzepatide. I don't know that I'd go right to 8 milligrams of tirzepatide because you might be a little sensitive to it. So maybe start with like 2 milligrams a few times per week. see how that does, and then you can kind of like, okay, like this is going to be where I'm at. Well, I can say I've never heard of this. I developed a reaction to backwater, even different sources trigger tachycardia. I'm able to use aliquot and use sterile water, but it's inconvenient. Seems less effective. Other options. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, sterile water is fine. You just want to make sure you mix it or use it within a few days of doing it. But unfortunately, I don't know what to use. There's phosphate buffered saline, which you can use, but I don't know that that would play well with every other peptide. Like some peptides is just fine with, like
Yeah.
ARE 290, but I don't know how it will do well with other peptides. Having reactions with MOTS-c, large red raised area, any insights or tips? One, I would ask yourself the dosage. So the dosage may be too high. Second, I would ask yourself, is it an immune system thing? And if you're having an immune reaction to it, in that case, you might need thymosin alpha 1, might need a microdose of a GLP, might need some LDN. Those could all help modulate the immune response to it. Oh, we answered that about the Cardilax. Overall blah feeling and just want a good overall reset. Any suggestions? Travel a decent amount for work and don't eat as well when traveling. So just want to add something for overall well-being. I mean, if I had one for that, I would say SS31.
Yeah.
And glutathione.
Yeah, I was gonna say glutathione.
Yeah.
Sauna, get some detox going on in there because that will make a difference.
Yeah. Why is cholesterol high during fat loss phase and what do I do? Cholesterol is high during fat loss phase in most cases for a few things. It could be anabolic use. I don't know if that's present here or not. Assuming that that's not present, you are stressing your body out. And so it is now cortisol is high, insulin thus is going, or cortisol is bottomed out. So you've like wrecked your cortisol signaling, to which now insulin resistance becomes much more prevalent, to which leads to, which is upstream from cholesterol and bad LDL cholesterol oxidation. And so ultimately it stems back to insulin resistance that you're inducing through the stress of the fat loss phase. It's funny, the fat loss phase causes insulin resistance because you're having a blowback from the over aggressive nature of dieting.
Yeah.
And so that's most likely what's happening. And also too, hormones are wrecked. So that causes cholesterol to be wrecked. Like a lot of people can be very fit looking, skinny, metabolically healthy. And if their hormones are bottomed out, they will actually start to see insulin resistance and bad cholesterol creep up. And that's why, because in a lot of cases they're more or less levels. It's everything. It's insulin resistance, it's overstress, it's chronic chronic sympathetic signaling and everything. Yeah. Thoughts on CJC IPA or Tessa IPA for women in perimenopause looking for more body recomp benefits? My recommendation would be CJC IPA for a woman. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't like to pair IPA and Tessa together. I like to use them in separate cycles. A lot of women get water retention with Tessa, so I don't normally recommend Tessa. I do IPA CJC and then cycle in something like a MK777 or using actual growth hormone. But I would never pair Tessa and IPA together. You can. There's people that do it and they get great results, but just know that water retention risk is going to be a lot higher because those are two stronger growth hormone releasing peptides. So that's why I recommend, especially for women, not doing them together.
Yeah. Jim says, I've been using P21 and PE 2228. Can you use them as nasal spray? Yes, you can use both of those as nasal spray. You could probably do them together and it's fine. I would just use them separately because they do a little bit different things. PE 2228 is a little bit more of an antidepressant. P21 is a little bit more of just a modulator of neurotransmitters, helping with energy in the brain, helping with reducing inflammation in the brain. And so, yeah, those are all fine to do, Jim. Any tip or supplement tips for someone with polycystic kidney disease? I would say look at Jardiance first, SS31. Those will be huge. Jardiance from the metabolic aspect of it and the kidney health aspect, and then SS31 for the kidney health aspect. Speaking of which, Kelly says Jardiance versus Brinzavi, both SGLT2, but a huge cost difference. I was told only because Jardiance is older with more studies, but basically the same thoughts. How many milligrams in the AM? Yes, I'm of the opinion. I haven't used Brinzavi specifically, but I've used Farxiga and Jardiance. I think they're the exact same to me, milligram for milligram.
Yeah.
Like you said, Kelly, it's just the Jardiance is older, more established,
Mhm.
more of like the first mover advantage of that. But I would start with 10 milligrams if you're relatively metabolically
Yeah, if
healthy
you're
with Brinzavi.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that.
But yeah, I think there's a very good, even for already healthy people, of those to use. So, yep. Started a 9-week cut and started an AG protocol, maybe AM. Is that what they meant? AG protocol of 2 milligrams MOTC and 2 milligrams SS31, 5 days a week, only 4 days in. Cool.
Yeah.
It's a good stack. I like doing those. I think that's something people can do more is mix those together.
Yeah.
How would you dose 20 milligram vial of Velon, syringe dose, and over what time period? Well, if you want, you can check this on the peptide cheat sheet. I have the exact instructions to do so. Long story short, 2 milliliters of water, 10 units to 20 units, 5 days on, 2 days off for 60 days. It's almost like I have that memorized. My test is 1125 and my free is 280 on cream. My doctor wanted me to take an AI because my estradiol was 81. I decided to take it. She said I would have side effects, but I feel fine. Yeah, I mean, you probably feel fine, but I would throw the AI in the trash because 81 at those levels is perfectly healthy to me.
Yep.
But I mean, you can do what you want. It doesn't matter to me, but I just think AIs are garbage.
Yeah.
I feel great when my estrogen's at 81, but my testosterone's also high too. So
You got to look at the ratio.
yeah. Asking for a friend whose brother has muscular dystrophy, how would you point someone to research the peptide bioregular hormone area? I mean, that's a tough question to ask.
Yeah.
I mean, I would just start if he has muscular dystrophy. There's obviously like growth hormone peptides can potentially be beneficial. They talk about like myostatin inhibitors being beneficial, but those are a lot more experimental. And so I wouldn't push someone into like a myostatin inhibitor if it's like their first experience with that. But you could also use something like a cerebrolysine to help with neuromuscular coordination and helping that way. But that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Do the companies who got the letters need to shut down or just remove GLPs?
No,
I mean,
we
according
answered this.
yeah, according to the letters is to do that. My actinic purpura has gotten worse on my arms. Is that like, I don't know what that is. Yeah. If it's like skin tingling, that could happen with Retta.
Yeah, they're off Retta right now, though. They're taking MOTC and SS31.
I don't know. Could be the MOTC. People are having like weird reactions to MOTC.
Yeah.
Using a 29 gauge half-inch needles, I inject test in the thigh. Not sure if doing deadlifts contributed, but it pulled in the top of my knee. Painful. Is it just the length of the needle? I usually do glutes. I never inject into my thigh because weird stuff like that can happen.
Yeah.
So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
I know it's too late for that, but I would just not do it in the future. Help people get HRT from their doctors. Any advice how it can help them get their doctor to prescribe desiccated thyroid? It seems they always want them to run labs and tell them they're fine and tell them they don't need it. Find a new doctor, unfortunately, is like the only answer because most doctors just have their way of doing it and they're not going to change.
Yeah. I would say the doctor doesn't align with your viewpoints, then find a new doctor or go in with your notes of why you want it, your case studies, and your study references.
Yeah. With the GHK serum that you use, do you think I'd have to worry about a histamine response into it, Taylor?
I don't think so.
We will not be at the biohacking conference. Unfortunately, we were there last year, but can't be there this year. We'll be in another, it's just a private retreat for an HRT company.
Yeah.
During that weekend, unfortunately.
Yeah. I feel bad because I do feel like a lot of our followers do go to that.
Jardiance for PCOS, yes, can be very beneficial.
Yes.
Along with metformin. Do GLPs cause insomnia? I just started Wegovy, 0.25 milligrams. I think it's raising my cortisol level and give me insomnia. Any advice? Yeah, that's pretty common.
Mm-hmm.
I think you will adopt and adjust to it over time, but it can definitely, just because it's raising your metabolism. Think of like anytime you do something that raises your metabolism, stimulates your nervous system, that can potentially interfere with sleep.
Yeah.
Do you have a good protocol for cerebrolizing men and women 55 year young, no major brain trauma? Do you recommend stacking with Cortexin? Sure, you could stack it with Cortexin. I don't think you need to. But if you're using lyophilized cerebrolizin, I would just do 10 to 20 milligrams per day, 5 days on, 2 days off for 8 weeks. If you're getting the ampoules of cerebrolizin, you could do like 1 ml to 5 mLs 3 times per week and get good results. The good thing is you can go to this website called cerebrolizin.com. That is the Eva Pharma, who is the manufacturer of cerebrolizin. That is a website for cerebrolizin. You just click on I'm a practitioner and just say, yes, I'm a practitioner. And then it will show you how to use cerebrolizin. And so you have all of the prescribing information for cerebrolizin on there, which a lot of times is not what the normal person actually needs because it's designed for stroke and brain trauma. Also mentioned, I eat 130 grams of protein, carbs 150 to 175, fat 60 to 75. Started IPA 3 weeks ago, 10 units at night, 5 days on, 2 days off. It's a good ratio, in my opinion.
No, they were the ones asking about fat loss. They wanted to.
Oh,
and
okay.
they teach
yeah.
spin class. I would actually cut those. I would cut those fats down to 50.
Yeah, for fat loss and probably up
for fat
carbs.
loss. I'd cut those down to 50. See how you do with that. If not, maybe up the carbs or up the protein. I mean, a little bit.
Getting surgery for a torn rotator cuff on the 28th of this month. What kind of protocol with BPC TB would you recommend following? 500 micrograms a day of each.
Yeah.
Potentially 2 times per day.
Yeah.
If you wanted to. See, I told you. Robert says I put your videos on at night to go to sleep. Thank you. There you go. Best peptide for sleep. Turn on my videos. My son is 15-year-old and his X-ray growth plates are almost closed. I wanted to stimulate growth before they close. Doctors in Brazil use HGH with teens. What do you think of MK777 in or GH peptides? No comment because I'm not going to talk about teens, but you could probably, if you ask yourself, what would we say? What do you think we would say? And that will probably lead you to where you want to be. This guy says, yeah, check out Lex Friedman 4 hours plus. It's true. Boring, but so interesting. Wife gets mad when I put it on. Yeah, my wife gets mad when I put my videos on too.
Oh, well, I don't like when you put like our videos on that we do together. One, I don't want to hear myself.
Taylor doesn't like.
I don't like hearing
become
myself.
Accustomed. No one.
Which
likes
I mean,
it,
I do hear myself because I edit my own YouTube videos. But like I don't want to listen to. Yeah, don't want to listen to it, especially if we're in the car.
Well, to me, listening to my stuff is like watching film. Like I'm going back to critique it to make it better. I'm not listening to like, oh, let's learn about it. Let's learn about this today.
Oh, we've already talked about it.
I just love hearing my voice.
I heard you recording it. I don't need to hear it again.
Yeah. No, I actually don't like listening to my voice either. But it's also like I'm going back to the same way as like an athlete that I watch film. Be like, oh, too many of this, too little of this. How to improve it?
No, and I
too much
do that
mumbling
too.
and
when
trailing
I'm editing.
off.
I do that too, like to know like what I need to improve on.
Yeah. I used 15 milligrams of Melantan 2 in 2 months' time. White skin darkened nicely, but moles all over body also darkened. Now months later, tan is gone, but moles still dark. Not pretty, especially in face. How to fix? I mean, you could try glutathione and see if that helps lighten it up.
Glutathione.
That would be like the only thing I know to do.
Yeah. And then as far as like the face, I would do that same skin brightening serum that I talked about. I would do the GHK one, and then I would also follow it up with the Better Skin Science, the intense brightening or elastin skin brightening cream with it for the face. But I think injecting glutathione 3 times a week will help with skin brightening all over. So I do feel like that's more of a, I mean, you can get it with Melantan 1, the darkening, but I do think you get the darker
it's definitely worse
moles, more dominant with 2
Yeah.
versus 1.
If SS31 and TB500 was left at room temperature for 2 days, are they still good? Probably. There's probably a little bit of degradation, but I would still use it. I personally would.
I would still use it.
Yeah, Retta for Raynaud's works good too.
Yeah.
I'm on 300 milligrams compounded progesterone and Leo and Levo for thyroid, pellets for test estradiol. Not optimal yet, but getting there. Yeah. Well, that's where I would throw the pellets and in the trash.
This is
Test
going to make
and
a big
estradiol.
difference with that carrying the weight in that midsection and trying to get that body fat percentage down. I would get rid of the pellets, and I would switch to injectable testosterone. I would give that at least a good 3 months before deciding whether you need to introduce estradiol back in. I can't remember if you said you were did she say she was postmenopausal?
Peri or post.
So you're perimenopausal. Chances are, if you start using injectable testosterone, you probably don't need the estrogen yet in some cases. So I would do that for at least a good 3 months prior to even putting any estrogen in. You do not want to start all of them all at once like that. I honestly think if you did that, you switched those hormones up like that, that weight that you're trying to lose will come off.
Could be. What dose of SLU would you suggest for someone who runs 50 kilometer, 100 kilometer runs? 500 micrograms, 750 micrograms. I don't know that going that much higher is going to be beneficial because you're going to create a lot of oxidative stress from running that far.
You're going to get burnt out.
Oh, that is a long way to run. Down 60 pounds on Retta and TRT. Do you recommend doing glutathione and NAD plus after a big weight loss? Yeah, you could. Definitely glutathione.
Yeah.
NAD, I would use it as needed if you feel like your energy is pretty low, but I wouldn't say like do it all the time. You don't need to do it all the time, in my opinion. And you're welcome. What are your thoughts on ARE 290? How do you recommend BPC 157 and TB 500? I love ARE 290. You can use it with BPC and TB 500. It's great, especially for people with neuropathy, nerve pain, sciatica. ARE 290, in addition to those, work great. See, Maria said it too. It's been having my son's file for school. They keep getting corrupted in the cloud and USB every time. They're messing with us. 0.25 milligrams of Retta per week has virtually silenced my histamine overload response. Respond well to the microdose. There you go. That's awesome. The benefit. That's why like people are like, oh, microdosing so stupid. Not for reasons such as that.
Yep.
Hunter, who's your guest? This is my wife, Taylor.
I taught him everything.
Meet Taylor. She taught me everything I know. She also makes my food.
Yes. I'm his personal chef is really is who I am.
Basically my servant. People get mad if I say that.
Yeah, people are going to get mad.
Taylor's not my servant, for the record.
No. I don't mind.
I think she wants to be.
Yeah.
See that?
I like being your servant.
Reverse psychology.
Yeah. Like pretty good.
I'm pretty good. She's a pretty good wife. Pretty good. Hard to beat.
Yeah.
Kelly says AG1's the biggest scam. They paid any influencer to promote it, gut disrupting ingredients.
Oh yeah. And think about the harsh, heavy metals in that too.
Yeah, from all like the green stuff.
The greens, yeah.
My experience with orforglipron is like 12 to 18 milligrams first thing in the morning. And I would just use that as needed. It's pretty good. I'd say it's not. I don't think that fat loss is as good as from the GLPs, but you definitely get appetite
suppression.
I mean, there is fat loss, but it's just not what tirzepatide and retatrutide is.
Yeah.
I remember you saying all saying if a woman has never done GLP, you recommend starting with TERS, dose and how often. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I just think it's going to be less overwhelming if a woman's never done it.
Especially if their nervous system is already like, if you already have like high stress levels, your nervous system, the reason why I think, because like Retta can increase heart rate, and I think that can stress a woman out even more, especially if they track everything. I would say if your nervous system is a little bit more fragile, I would do TERS first.
Do you have any advice for a postmenopausal woman that is hypothyroid and wants to change to injectable TRT instead of pellets, dosages, and allowable levels? I mean, I would just dump the pellets.
I would
start with like 2 to 3 milligrams 3 times per week of testosterone. Postmenopausal, you're probably going to go up. So you're probably going to land in like the 10 to 15 milligrams per week range.
How long would you wait?
After the pellets?
After the pellets are removed?
I wouldn't wait. I'd just start.
You wouldn't wait?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And just start there and then get desiccated thyroid.
Yeah.
And you should be good to go. if I start test primo and anavar and combined with peptides, can I get off the test primo, et cetera, after one cycle for good? Or do I have to stay on TRT over 50? Never took TRT. I mean, I would just say you want to stay on TRT just because everything's going to be better.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything.
Well, okay. You definitely want to stay on TRT when you are using any kind of anabolics. Because the anabolics, yes, it will give you.
Yeah, it's going to suppress.
It's going to suppress your natural production. So you'll feel good on anabolics without TRT, but you're actually doing yourself more damage in the long run because it's going to suppress your natural testosterone production.
Yeah. Yes, Kimberly, send me an email. I can help you with the injectable testosterone for women. There's plenty out there. You just got to know where to go. My doctor took me off HRT until test results because an unfounded scare of cancer. Can I use Kisspeptin as a substitute? I mean, you could. It's just not going to really do anything.
Yeah.
I would use HCG before I would use Kisspeptin for TRT. If you couldn't. Or enclomiphene could be good too.
Yeah.
This is generally frowned upon, but can you put KPV and Cardilax in the same syringe? I'm currently taking both. I have and have. It's worked great.
Yeah.
So, anecdotally speaking, yes, but I haven't tested those. I haven't got the third party verified test. Just got the real world test. But it's all placebo effect anyway, so who cares? 45-year-old male just ran a cycle of Tessa IPA blend and IGF was 373 at the end of the 10 weeks. Any benefit to 1 to 2 IUs of GH in the future versus going back to Tessa IPA, also on 100 milligrams of test per week? Yeah, I prefer the HGH is always the long-term solution. The Tessa IPA will never be the long-term for life everyday solution. So that would be, but it's not bad to use those. And obviously like it gets your IGF high clearly. And so it's fine. But there's always a benefit to HGH, in my opinion, at that dose. Yeah, PE 2228, nasal, big help with mood. That's what it does. 47-year-old female on 5 weeks Tessa, thinking of switching to 1 IU of HGH, but starting to see results with Tessa. Will results stall if I switch now? No, I don't think they'll stall, but I don't see any reason that you can't continue to use that. Yeah. Like, don't get FOMO just because you hear me say HGH is better.
Yeah, I would continue it for
I would just continue and keep getting the results you like, and then you feel like you're stalling out, just switch over.
Yeah.
And then switch back. And then switch over. And then switch back. What about testosterone cream for women? Terrible. Nah, I mean, if you like it, it's good. Have you seen any studies if PNC 27 can be ran as a proactive protocol, whether is one aware of any active C or not? No, there are no human studies that I could ever find, and I've looked high and low for PNC 27, but I don't see any downside to taking it proactively, but I don't know that it would also do anything either because it's basically like a seek and destroy tumor peptide. Like that's how it works. So I don't know.
I've heard stories of people experimenting with it. They know somebody who experimented with it and it helped. But again, tumors. It's all just,
but not proactively. Like if you're worried, but how would you know if you didn't have tumors? Like
that's true.
It's like, oh, it worked. It's like, well, how,
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not saying it against it.
That's
I'm just
true.
saying.
I didn't listen to, I missed the proactive part. Sorry.
Peptides for hair growth.
Desiccated thyroid. Not a peptide.
GHK.
But GHK.
AHK.
GHK will help.
Yeah.
I think for actual hair growth of the scalp, still think desiccated thyroid is going to be the best.
Yeah. Training for my first High Rocks competition at age of 50. Good for you. From what I understand, it's all about endurance. Currently taking PPC, TB500, CJC, IPA, and RETA. The endurance peptides. Oh, sorry. Any endurance peptides I would recommend. Cardarine would be great. SLU PP332 would be great. So you throw those two in there and you'll beat everyone in the High Rocks.
That sounds like my worst nightmare, a High Rock. It's like
you're gonna do it one day. Don't lie.
I know. I don't know if my
you and Jen are gonna start a High Rocks team.
You and Jen can go and do it, and I will be cheering my two favorite humans. It's like both my soulmates just want me to do a High Rock with them. And it's just
I just have a desire. I don't really compete in
You guys like
physical
to
sports
compete.
anymore, but it's just
Yeah.
built into you, like, from the moment
Yeah,
you're
'cause you guys were both,
from the
like,
moment
athletes
yeah, it just is what you wanna do.
growing up.
You're always just thinking like, "How can I win? How can I win? I wanna win."
I would rather do a strong man competition than a high rock.
Yeah, anything you have to run, I think you're running away from. So, best time and duration for fasting for a woman during her cycle. I'd say not to fast. Well, part enlighten
During
us, like, what part?
during the cycle. You don't wanna fast during the luteal phase of the menstrual cycle, because that's, like, when the PMS phase happens, so that's the phase where it's, like, either your body's preparing for pregnancy or your body's preparing to get its menstrual cycle. You don't want to fast during, that time frame. So just anytime after ovulation and luteal phase happens, you don't wanna fast.
Yeah.
A lot of women feel great honestly, like, while they're, like, actually menstruating too fast during that time.
Yeah. Do you see any positive results with AOD? I'm trying instead of Tesla so I don't raise IGF-1 with polycystic kidneys. Honestly, not really. The only results I see is if it's with a GLP and with a growth hormone peptide. So you could try, but I just don't think it really does that much. How do you reconstitute peptides like Clo that have 3 different peptide shrinks? When all else fails, add 2 mLs and take 10 units. No, but all seriousness, on the peptide cheat sheet, I have instructions for that.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting to the end. Can I clarify what I meant by it's all placebo effect after answering the Carlax and KPV question? Yes, it was a joke. So that is what I meant
You gotta remember
by
there's
it.
all different levels of
I know.
peptide people
So I
here.
apologize. That was a joke when I said it's all placebo effect because we were talking earlier about the people that say like peptides don't work
If
or
you
that
combine.
peptides are dangerous. Like it's just all like there are several people that just say peptides are strictly placebo effect. Like there's no benefit because we don't have human studies on them. And so I apologize. That was a joke of sarcasm. They are not placebo effect, in my opinion. I've seen nothing short of miraculous from Cardilax and KPV in my own life. So anyway, but I think that's it. And we are right at 2 hours.
Yeah.
What?
Sorry.
We're right at 2 hours. So thank you guys. This was a lovely, lively one this morning.
Yes.
Really enjoyed it. Definitely made my day better. And I always leave these more energized than when I got here. So thank you guys so much. Do we have any housekeeping stuff? I don't think we have any housekeeping stuff today.
I don't think so.
Just go forth. Carpe diem. Yeah, this was a great one. Hopefully, I did my best to talk into my microphone. So I guess I'll hear. Hopefully, this came through. Hopefully, the quality was good.
Yeah.
I was also recording it locally. So if it wasn't, I'll be able to like go back and tune up the audio and video a little bit. So anyway, thank you guys so much. We will be around. Are we going to be back next week? Maybe, maybe not.
Maybe.
See how we feel.
Also how we feel. We're trying to do them at least every other Saturday.
Yeah, what we'll probably do is go back and forth because we did
goal.
like the reader mailbag to like where we're pre-recording questions that we get.
Mhm.
And the reason I like that is because like I don't want to spend like 30 minutes on one question, although I know that we do go into rabbit holes on these. I don't want to spend like 30 minutes or 20 minutes on one question. Where those I can handpick all of the questions that we get sent and say like, okay, we're going to do these 5. We're going to take like an hour and break down each one, you know, for 10 or 15 minutes, however long we need to. So that'll be the plan. So maybe we'll film one of those this week, publish that, and then 2 weeks back. Because at least for like the next month and a half, we don't have to travel. So that's it for this one. Thank you guys. As always, we love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Like I mean it when I say it's a dream come true, and the fact that you support us is nothing short of miraculous. To quote myself 2 minutes ago. But thank you guys so much. It really means a lot that we get to do this, and hopefully these are valuable. And we always look forward to the feedback, good or bad, on these and how it's helping you. So keep on doing your thing, and go enjoy the weekend. And we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.